Hello Internet, welcome back to the Fast Travel Lounge. You're listening to episode 92. My name is Patrick and I'm joined by Seth, say hi.
Yellow.
And Steve, say hi. Steve, say hi.
He's gonna steal my bit. He's gonna say what?
Great.
You have to explain it now, Seth. You can't bring an inside joke to the podcast and be like, nah, that's it, we're not talking
Okay,
about it.
all right. Before Seth explains it, what the fuck was the bit gonna be? Because it sounds like that wasn't it.
No, that wasn't. That was just me howling. Because it's a full moon. But whatever, Seth, go off. Make it all about you.
Nothing came through on our end, so you must. Did you mute yourself for howling?
It was just fucking silence.
Oh, sorry. I was howling. It looked like it picked up on the recording.
Oh my god.
Holy shit! Have I fucked? Man. Right, can I go home now?
No.
Oh, can you hear that? Oh.
Yeah, I heard that one.
Yeah,
Like
it cuts you out if you do the tone. If you monotone too long with it, it cuts you out.
Steve literally became background noise.
I've literally shit the bed, and it's like I hadn't said anything, and I shut the bed.
Great
love to
start.
say it. Yeah.
Do you want to explain the inside joke, or are we just going to pretend that didn't happen and move on?
Let's pretend that didn't happen and move on.
All right, so Seth, I have a question for you.
Yeah, sure. What's up?
You have been really good about sending. Shut the fuck up, Steve. The mind game of what's the inside joke. No, you've been happy to share some of the top 10 Evo moments from overall the years. Do you have a particular favorite in mind?
It's
Might as well make him pick his favorite child.
yeah, it's probably the "Why you standing up for" moment from Guilty Gear. I need to double check who it was. There was basically a moment in it was basically a moment. Okay, it was Washige versus Ogawa in Guilty Gear Xrd.
Is that how you pronounce it? I've always been pronouncing it Zerd, but the 3 times I read it a year. But anyway.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Steve, is this about you?
Yes.
Shit, okay. I guess it's about him now, Seth.
All right, so what's your favorite Evo moment, Steven?
So my favorite Evo moment is the one where these 2 guys are fighting and he wins the first round. Then he stands up and he's celebrating, but the guy just fucking bodies him in the second round.
Oh yeah, no way. Do you know what year and game that was and who was involved?
I think it was Guilty Gear Zerd. I don't know who was involved because I don't know names. And I think it was
I really
2016.
wanted him to try.
he got like 1/3 of that right because it was Evo 2015.
He got 1/3 of
That's what I
that
said.
right, and that was the word
You said
guilty.
2016.
No, I didn't. I said 2015.
I'm gonna have to play that back in the edit.
Yeah, it's probably if you press the gaslight button, it's probably right there. And I think it was 2016.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Oh, I love the gaslight button. It works every time.
So the reason I bring this up, holy fuck, how did you two derail this so badly? The reason I bring it
Blame
up,
Steven.
Me?
it's not quite, yeah, I will. You know what? Fuck you, I'm the host, I do what I want. It's not quite a top 10 Evo moment, but it's a shockingly close moment just on pure hype alone. Because I helped organize a games night at my company, which sounds like I own the company. I don't. At the place where I work. Yesterday, actually.
Man, that's crazy, but I can't believe I forgot the invite.
You were there. What? What?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were part of the moment, Steve. Were you not? Do you not remember that?
You're the MC.
Hang on. I get the feeling. Let's let him cook. Let's let him cook.
No, I basically had to coordinate a bunch of people bringing in like Nintendo Switches, and we set up like a Mario Kart tournament bracket and a few other bits and pieces, and it was sick. We've had more people sticking around for that than we have like most other events after work like this year. It was awesome. And so we had a roughly 20-ish person Mario Kart bracket, which I wasted too much time on. Sorry, boss. During work hours to figure out who was going to play what games and things. So normally when we do after work events, right, you got like drinks on after work, that sort of thing. Things sort of taper off, finish up kind of 6 is when things sort of empty out by. We had the grand finals of the people that have made it all the way through the Mario Kart tournament at 7, and we had probably still a good 20 odd people, which for the size of the company and for that time is like crazy numbers. Maybe even approaching 30, although I don't think all 30 were watching the grand finals. And so here we have a Mario Kart game. So we had it with bots because it's not just gonna be 2 people playing Mario Kart. That'd be like, I don't even think that's possible. And on the Nintendo 64 version of Rainbow Road, I think, the like blocky one, you know the one I mean?
Yeah. The
think so.
really old. I think it's from the SNES Mario Kart.
SNES might be right. Yeah, with like the thwomps that come down and just like smash the stage and the waves and stuff.
That's Rainbow Road 1.
Rainbow Road 1. Well, so I being the TO had to come up with a really ingenious way to randomize which cup we were going to do for the final. And so I made one of them pick heads or tails. I had heads in my head. They said tails, so it meant that I used the other hand and I just randomly pointed somewhere behind me, and I said pick the closest cup to where my finger's pointing. And it happened to be the cup that included that Rainbow Road, which was actually super hype. It was a really good mix of tracks, and so everyone's kind of doing the hype like ooh and ah like as we're getting towards the final the final lap of. I don't remember which race Mario Kart is. I know that it ends in Hyrule Castle, but I think it's the second or third race. And so it's really close because these guys, none of them dropped a game through the whole tournament. I'm not even sure if any of them came second. I'm sure some of them came second at least once, but cream of the crop. They probably don't do any work. It's just Mario Kart with these guys. Imagine how hype 20 to 30 people who sticking around after work watching the grand finals of Mario Kart when on the final corner on lap 3, one of them gets sniped by a red shell and sees the other one go past. But because it's not just about the who came first or second, it's about the points. It's then, oh shit, he's been passed by a few of the bots as well. His point score's going to dip. He then launches, he still had a bob-omb ready to go, which he wasn't waving behind him. He launches the bob-omb, blows up 2 of the bots, and so manages to damage control back to third, but loses from first. Everyone was losing their minds. What was really funny was someone there and myself both thought whether we need to record this because it's sort of like a work event, whether there's going to be some kind of like, thanks for coming to the work event. Here are some highlights, that kind of thing. And both of us, as soon as that race finished, went, shit, we should have recorded that.
I guess like if you record it and like there are a couple of words thrown around.
Yeah.
HR would love to see that. So maybe it's for the best.
Yeah,
maybe
that's why Steven wasn't invited actually.
I tried to walk in, but then HR just like looked at me and I just walked away. They're not your friends.
They sort of heated and they knew games were involved.
I'm going to say the gamer word.
It was shockingly hype, and it was honestly kind of fun to organize. I'd never run TO before, particularly like I'd done like informal TO where like you know everyone, but this was like I knew half the people competing, and I don't think you could have stuck me in a room with the other half and I would have been able to pick out who was who. I don't even recognize these people from around the office. I recognize their names, but I swear I've never met some of these people in my life. And it was like, yeah, I need this person. And they just show up in front of me like, cool, you're on the Switch, let's go.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do something like this with my workplace because one of the animators that I work with, he's also into fighting games. Like he's been playing Street Fighter recently and he tried out the beta for Mortal Kombat before he cancelled his pre-order. So I've been thinking of like asking him, hey, do you want to like try and set something up for work? But I don't want to bring my PS5 across the city on a train. So I'd have to rely on someone else to bring their PS5 or their PC with all games installed.
Can you imagine the future where it's just going to be cloud streaming?
No, I can't. Well, it'd probably be better at work because they're closer in the city.
Yeah, straight onto the old work Wi-Fi.
There is a work Switch, so we could do Smash Brothers on that.
Fuck, a work Switch, fucking hell. I told my manager that I play video games and she was like, oh yeah, my 3-year-old son plays Minecraft. I'm like, you're cool.
We are not the same. Like Giancarlo Esposito, just like Jim from The Office staring at the camera. We are not the same.
It was like one of those moments I'm like, you know what? I don't have any hobbies. I go home and I sit in the dark.
You know what? I played Minecraft in 2008.
I do love Minecraft, but I do love those li-fi beats. Yeah. My manager was saying that she listens to the music at work because she's heard the song so many times. Well, song is a very strong word for it. But anyway, yeah, no, that sounds bad.
Yeah, that sounds really fun.
Did you have like a prize? Like, was the prize just bragging?
Yeah, yeah. We managed to swing it with work. That first prize was it was effectively a glorified pizza party. Like in terms of the number, so for what was effectively $250, we had at least 50 people showing up and at least 20 to 30 sticking around for multiple hours.
That's mad.
Like a work thing, which is shockingly good value. First price was a $50 Prezi card, which yes is New Zealand fun money. So
Prezi,
to convert that into the currency of your choice, and then second prize was a double movie pass. And what was funny was somehow I was the one organizing the tournament, but I wasn't the one technically organizing the games night as the event. And so somehow the person organizing the games night as the event didn't tell anyone that there could be a prize for the Mario Kart tournament. So everyone was going, oh, I've already had a couple games. Let someone else have a go, or whatever. I'm like, oh, you don't want to go for the $50 present card? I'm like, oh, excuse me?
No, fuck you. I'm not.
Hand me my controller.
Did you get any true gamers bringing in like their Mad Catz controller or something?
Not Mad Catz. There was someone rocking a similar but not stock Nintendo Switch Pro controller.
Okay, so
it was like similar shape, but like third party.
Okay, so probably
we
got a Ray controller or something.
We got the Pro controller at home.
Pass.
Did they end up winning?
Yeah, that was one of the guys that made it through the final.
Ah, interesting.
And no, but okay. So here's the
performance
thing,
enhancing
right?
controllers.
No. So it wasn't. So I wanted to be a fair TO, and so because we were playing this across 2 Switches, we just didn't have enough controllers to guarantee everyone could use a controller that they wanted. So we're like, all right, everyone's on single Joy-Cons. Everyone's on single Joy-Cons and 100 cc's for the first couple rounds.
We have the steering wheel.
Gyro controls on.
We're not psychopathic, Seth. And then it was basically like, okay, like semifinals and grand finals is just 1v1 on a Switch. If both players agree, then we can use other controllers or whatever. And so I gave his opponent an out. I was like, hey, this guy wants to use his controller. It's up to you. If you say yes, then I will give you a Pro controller. It won't be the same, but it'll be pretty close. And if you say no, then you're both on single Joy-Cons. Up to you. And he was like, yeah, let it ride. And then he got absolutely smashed. So joke's on him, I guess.
He probably went home and cried. He was like, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. He's like, don't come to the office tomorrow.
You seem all right.
I think there's like another event that you need to TO on the other side of town for like all day. No, it was a good night. It was a good night. It was fun. It was the first time that I've done that, and also found out, final thing, then we'll get to the regularly scheduled programming. Turns out there are plenty of things that you can use online to create an online draw on an online tournament, but for the life of us, like me and the other guy who was helping organize the tournament, neither of us could find anything that would work for 4 players in a round. All of it was just like pool games 2v2 type thing, which kind of makes sense because that's like the majority of games and things. But I ended up having to run like a bespoke one in Excel to make it work with 4 people playing in a game rather than 2. But I don't know, interesting that it was so hard to find, well, that we didn't find a tool online that could do it, which naturally now the endless list of side projects that I have is to make one for future. But anyway, I normally you guys get to share fun stories, and finally I got to share a fun story. So
I thought it was a great story. Thanks, man.
Thank you. I'm Patrick, and I've been sober for different story, different time. Round the lunch for this week. I guess I'll go from the opening to my own round the lounge. That way I can hear the sound of my own voice for a little bit longer. You're welcome. Other than TOing the Mario Kart tournament, have only really been playing Monster Hunter. A little bit more of Generations Ultimate, which I won't really speak about because there's not a big update on that on Switch. And a little bit more of Monster Hunter Now, which I will touch on because there is one little update that I want to feed back to people.
Did you run into the Diablos?
I did actually, but I'm curious as to your take on that when we get to it because
I didn't play it. I'm just asking.
No. But what do you mean run into Diablo? We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Happened. That's why I was asking if you ran into it.
I see. Sort of. I'll discuss that. Seth, other than telling me how to fight a Diablos or not, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I've just been streaming a little bit of Soul Hackers 2, and that's
streaming. You say?
Yeah, streaming.
On Xbox cloud native streaming technology.
No, streaming it to Twitch.
Oh, sorry, like Google Stadia.
That one's
Why'd
dead.
you pronounce it like that?
Patrick, I'm not into necrophilia.
Okay, that was too far. Final warning.
Necromancy is not my specialty.
What about Necrowomancy? Where were you streaming it, Seth?
Yeah, I was streaming it over onto my channel, which is www.twitch.tv/Kai_Burr.
Oh, excellent.
No. That one's happening when we turn this into a live podcast.
I don't think we can safely do that with people like Steve on the as part of the crew.
You're right. I have to edit out too many gamer words.
Okay.
He's just such a loose cannon, you know?
Speaking of Stephen and the Game Awards, what's he been up to this week?
Which Game Awards have we used today, buddy?
Oh boy, man, you really set me up to fail there. But finally, the well-awaited Stephen take on Starfield.
The Field of Stars. Excellent.
Yeah, the latest release from our good friend and mentor, Tom Howard.
Just
Todd.
him.
What?
It's Todd Howard.
What I call him?
Tom.
Oh, fucking, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm having a stroke. Yeah, Todd Howard. Yeah, that
Big
guy.
Xbox fan here.
Yeah.
I can't believe you got sold a bootleg copy of Starfield from Tom Howard.
Starfield by our good friends Tom Howard and Shill Spencer.
It's actually, wait a minute, this actually says Stormfeld. Wait a minute, this is actually the box set of Seinfeld. But yeah,
Every
like
sound effect in the game is Jerry Seinfeld.
so what's the deal? What's the deal? What's the deal with fast traveling?
Hey.
Yeah, no, I've finally been able to put like a significant amount of time into it. Did have a bit of an issue with my TV deciding to go on strike, so I had to replace it with a scab TV, as is the traditional capitalist way. But no, I've probably put around 25, 30 hours into it. So I've got a really good handle with what's going on with the game.
Well, why don't we, that one being the most topical of all of these, just launch straight into it. How have the 20 to 25 hours been?
Man, where do I start? So this
Start
game...
with hour one. What was hour one like?
Start with booting the game. Actually, no. I'm more
What
interested.
did it taste like when you licked the disc?
Can you tell me what it was like when you boarded that Starfield skateboard?
That's how I've been playing the game. Like, I haven't been sitting on my lounge. I've been riding I'm sitting on the skateboard. And then if my partner doesn't like it, she sort of just wheels me out of the room. She's like, my turn for TV. No, but really. So for those that are unaware, I've been living under a rock. Starfield is Bethesda's newest game. And we all know Bethesda as the people that have published or that have done Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls series more generally, and the Fallout series as well. And this is sort of the big advertising blitz that they've done for this is, number one, is that it's like the first really, no, not the first really big, but it is the big Xbox exclusive, and I use exclusive in quotations because it's also available on PC. That's really been out for the year.
Just going to throw Redfield under the bus like that?
Yes. Not a real game.
Sorry, not Redfield, Redfall.
Yeah, yes, exactly. You don't know what it's called either.
Hi-Fi Rush.
That's on Steam though, isn't it?
I genuinely forgot Redfall was a thing.
I mean, Starfield is also on Steam if you want to discount that as well.
Yeah, whatever. It's not on PlayStation or Switch. That's what matters, right? But anyway, yeah. So it's definitely more in that vein, like of the single player, story driven. RPG is a very strong word for it. And like, while there is like a skill tree and all that type of stuff, the combat is much more there than what it was in like previous games. And like generally to set the scene, like with Skyrim, you've got like you're the Dragonborn and you're there to bring balance to the world and all that kind of stuff by defeating Parthenax. Fallout series is usually you're in a vault and then something happens and you have to go out to the vault and you're exploring the world. Whereas Starfield is you are some dead shit miner mining for rocks, and then you get attacked by pirates and then you find this artifact thing and it gives you like the start screen from Mass Effect 1, and then it's sort of like, whoa, man, what do these artifacts mean? And you join this group called Constellation. It's like, well, our job is to find more artifacts, like, and explain what that vision you had was. And you're like, yeah, cool, whatever. But there is no grand moment that pulls you into that story. Like with Fallout 3 or Fallout, well, let's go use Fallout 3 like that. You're in the vault for like, what, half an hour, 45 minutes. And then your first step out into the capital wasteland. And it is like, whoa, the world's all different here. It's been 200 years. What's going on here? Whereas the Elder Scrolls, the famous scene is, hey, you're up. And then the prison wagon you're on gets attacked by a dragon. And it's like, whoa, shit, things are happening. Where this is like a bunch of minor things. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is happening. Yeah, welcome aboard. You can either do like the main quest or you can just go outside and pick up a bunch of other quests. Like, well, best, whatever you want to do. And while I do appreciate that open worldness, there's nothing really that draws you into what it's trying to tell you. Like the biggest probably problem with this game that I found is that it just gives you so much all at once. And this is probably, it was a point in its favor until I got to like 3 main cities. But when you're walking like from like one shop to another shop or just through a main city, you'll hear like characters talking, and it's like, oh, I heard that Sergeant Yumi is looking for help for the vanguards, and like it'll put like a quest marker on your map. And it's like, oh, cool. I need to check out Yumi later because he needs help. That might be a faction quest or something. But the first time you go into a city, you get like 10 or 15 of these. And probably 90% of those are just bullshit, like fetch quests or like, oh, hey, can you talk to this guy? Get some money off him, then come back and give me my money. Like, or can you go to this planet, pick something up and come something back? Like it just gives you so much and it's nothing really drawing you in. And I'm not sure if maybe this is because it's more of a open experience, but just the way it tries to guide you a certain way, I don't really think it does that very well. And I get the feeling maybe it's just because I don't really have the time that I had with like Skyrim and all that, but it felt like the Skyrims back on the Fallouts drew you into the story and it's like, oh, cool, I want to keep either with the main story, I want to keep with this faction quest. And it does, the main story does get a bit, do you guys care if I talk about spoilers?
I don't.
Absolutely, you should stop right now.
Okay, well...
I don't actually, you can go ahead.
Okay. Good,
So I guess we're just putting a spoiler warning in here then.
Yeah, spoiler warning. Like, look, the story's, like, it's not going to win an Academy Award, let's be real. Like, no one's going to be talking about the story from Starfield in 6 months' time, let alone 20 years. But essentially, like, after you sort of work out what these artifacts are, it's pointing you to this weird temple, and you go to this temple and you get like weird magic powers. I don't really see how else. Like, I haven't finished it. I haven't finished the main quest. 100% honesty, but I've got like 2 of these weird magic powers now, and one of them is literally the Fusro Dash out.
Yo, copy paste. Let's go.
And I'm like, yeah, cool. How'd you think of this one, Todd? Playing other games, and like while it is cool, it's like all you're doing is just magic or some sort of weird thing. I'm like, you didn't really need to do this. This is space. You don't have to do that.
Oh, is it actually magic?
Oh, well, I haven't gotten too far to explain it, but it seems like it's some sort of weird gravity control that you're doing as the character.
because of the sci-fi setting, I literally thought it was like it's the first radar shout, but it's because you've got like the gravity gun or something from like Half-Life 2 that you just shove people around.
It's a gravity power. Like it's literally like you put your hand out and you're like force pushing them away.
That's my point. Is that for it to be like, actually no, this one's just magic. Like, okay, interesting.
Yeah, cool. I might be able to understand that more if it was like, oh, this is ancient technology and this we don't know how this gun works. But it's like, nah, straight up, you gravity control.
This
I'm like,
one
no, that's
from
magic,
the Proteans.
Yeah, and in a weird sort of defensive way of Starfield, it does take a bit of time to get to that sort of stage where it's sort of like, oh, cool, we're exploring. Oh, it's magic. But it doesn't really fit the theming of what it's going everywhere else. Like every other faction quest, every other quest, like it's all about like exploration or just sort of day-to-day mundane life or different conflicts between different human settlers. Like it just having this magic thing in the main story really is like, it just feels so fucking out of place.
It feels really weird that in this sci-fi setting where you're on like this journey to find other life outside in the universe, you just have magic. like that's the thing they added in. You still haven't found aliens, but magic is here.
Bethesda's like, so you know how popular Skyrim was? What if, now hear me out, we did Skyrim in space?
Yeah, but it's just the way they do it. Like, I could probably sort of understand it if, like, it's the first thing in the game is that you get these magic powers. But it's like, it seems like it's just midway through. Oh, yeah, by the way, like, you're on this quest, you're given these powers, they're an afterthought. Cool. Continue looking for more of these artifacts to get more powers. Like, they could have taken the powers out and I would have been like, yeah, cool, this is fine. It just seems very weird. And maybe the end of the game sort of does explain it a bit better, but I don't really see how there could be an explanation to tie everything
Magic was
together.
The aliens all along.
Yeah, and I think it's because the Constellation, the group you start with for the main quest, is the faction that is looking to just explore and answer the mysteries of the universe. Realistically, the only answer to the universe is just what the fuck these artifacts are that are giving me these magic powers. It's pretty weird. But yeah, main quests aside, the faction quests are actually pretty good and probably a highlight. Like, I think it's the UC, like the United Colonies side quest is actually really good because it deals with like alien life forms and war crimes that were like committed by this war that was like 50 years ago. And it's like, well, we actually knew these aliens were coming out of these dumb leeches and killing all these colonists. So that story is good. And it definitely feels like even the miscellaneous quests that really don't mean anything, the writing is actually pretty decent. Like it's not always, oh, hey, you go up to a shopkeep and the shopkeeper's like, oh, hey, can you get this money from this guy? He stole or he hasn't delivered something. And then like, you can ask him a bunch more questions. And it's like, oh yeah, well, times are tough. I had to hire this guy because all the police are corrupt and rah, rah, rah. Like there is a bit of depth to it, but you do have to sort of go looking for those depth, that depth. But then at the end of the day, it's like you'll do this mini fetch quest and it's like, okay, well, that was it. That was sort of self-contained quest. And like, it's literally a fetch quest with just extra padding. So I don't really know what the point I was going with that is because it seems like I'm sort of split on that. But yeah, it's fun. I am having fun. I am harping on the story a bit too much, but the action, the ship combat is pretty fun. It's very close to that Star Wars Squadrons, I think it is, where it's like you've got different energy levels you can give to different systems on your ship, whether like you're powering up engines or shields or missiles and all that kind of thing. There is a ship creator mode that is absolute fucking dog shit. It doesn't really explain anything.
Like in Spore?
I wish it was like in Spore, because then it'd be fucking good. Because like you're locked to one orientation, so you can't like rotate anything around or anything. So it's like putting Lego together, but you can't rotate the Lego. So like there's only limited amount of combinations you can do. And then some of the parts are like, okay, you can only put something underneath. And it's like, yeah, cool, that's fine. But then you can't rotate anything that would fit underneath it. So like, okay, this one doesn't have a top, so I can't go with this. Like it's just weird stuff like that. I mean, and it doesn't really explain it to you either. It's just like, oh, hey, you can create your ship here. And you get like put into this shipbuilder mode. And it's like, okay, I don't know what's going on.
It sounds like the gummy ship, but even more restrictive.
It sort of is like that, but like it's more restrictive as well because you've got like reactors, and depending on what reactor, it like limits the amount of energy you can output. It's just not fun. Like I've tried it. I've tried for like 2 hours to make a good ship, and all I did was like make this monstrosity that really didn't fit together. But because I had so many different pieces, it weighed a ton, so I had to keep putting more engines on it. So it just kept like, it's just like economies of scale. It just kept getting bigger, and it was like, oh, okay, you need to put on like 3 reactors, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. And then it's going to cost you like $1 bajillion. And that's probably just a common theme of Starfield, of that it just tries to do everything. Like it has your shipbuilder. You don't need, if you got rid of the shipbuilder and just had like different ways to like just buy different ships, and maybe do a little bit of customization with like upgrades, that would be fine. Like you don't need to just tack on this builder thing. For whatever reason, the outposts, I'm not sure I'm not sure if you guys played Fallout 4, but there was this weird outpost mechanic in it where you could sort of build this weird little town settlement type of thing. And that sort of makes another come around of like outposts on like different planets and all that type of stuff. And it literally doesn't tell you how to use it or anything. It just says, oh, you need a bunch of these materials. And you're like, I don't know where to get those materials. And it's like, oh, well, all the best. And so I've just completely disengaged with that. The exploration for the planets and stuff. And there's like what the advertisement is 400 or 4,000 planets that are like semi-procedurally generated. Pretty much. I'm not sure if I said it on the podcast, but I've said it quite frequently. Like just because you can do a million things, like doesn't mean I want to. Like a lot of those planets are much of the same. Like you can sort of scan it in a weird No Man's Sky type of way, but it definitely feels like we've got No Man's Sky at home. Like if I, like with like scanning and resource collecting and seeing a bunch of different like flora and fauna, it definitely just feels like it's like if you've played No Man's Sky, the exploration in this is shit. Like it's, and there's problems with like encumbrance. Like if you have too many resources, you go slow, and if you're over encumbered, you can't fast travel, which is pretty shit. Yeah, this game just does so much, but it doesn't really hit anything really good. Like space travel is really shit, so you just fast travel it anyway, which is fine. I don't really care about that. But if you're thinking you're gonna be like, oh cool, I'm on like Earth and I'm gonna fly to Mars, you're not gonna do that. Like there's just so much, like it'll take you 3 or 4 hours, so you're just gonna fast travel. So then it literally becomes, if you're getting like a weird fetch quest, it's like, okay, quest obtained, pause screen, fast travel to a different planet, talk to someone, fast travel back to our original planet. Like, it just feels like you're just missing some sort of steps. So it just feels like they could have compressed a bunch of it, but then it just would have gotten a bit more tedious. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like a dog.
Is this stuff because the main that we've heard about, which you sort of spoke about last time, is that the first few hours are a bit rough. Are they a bit rough for these reasons, or are they a bit rough for different reasons? / is it better now because that's the 12-ish hour, and if you're now at 25, has that improved it, or is it still kind of the same?
It feels like I'm being like swept along. Like the more time I put into it, the more I'm like keeping along with it. Like if I go into a session and I'm like, okay, I'm going to stick with this one faction quest, and I stick with the quest. Like I don't do any outposts, I don't do any side quests, I don't do any exploring. That will sweep me along. And it's the same thing of like, okay, this like 2-hour play session, I'm just going to do some exploring. That's I'll have fun with that. It's just I'll do 2 quests and then a bit of exploring and then a bit of like talking to my companions and then like one side quest. Like it feels a bit disjointed when you play it like that. But it's just maybe it's the way that I'm playing it, but it just feels like the game doesn't guide you to do that. And maybe that's because it's so open. There's so many different things to do, but all the different things are their own unique things and in a different world. Or for example, you could break off the quests as just probably like a single experience type of thing, or you could break off the outpost building into a single game. Like you'd have to do a lot more to make them work and be a lot more fun. But they sort of seem like it's sort of tacked on, but at the same time,
like there's enough there for it to justify itself, but not much more.
Yeah, exactly. There's enough to justify itself there, but if you lost it, it's like, oh well, like too bad type of thing. Like no skin off my back. I will say though, the gun play, like when it does come to combat, fantastic. It feels so good. Like it's all the guns have weight. They do throw like a bajillion different type of ammo types at you for whatever reason, but the combat is fantastic. Like you can peek behind cover. Enemies are pretty smart. There is like a general weight, and even though I'm playing on the normal difficulty, I can't just like walk through and just shoot everybody. I have to take a bit of cover. I have to play a bit smarter. And you've got like a jetpack thing on your back, so you can do like a mini double jump thing, and that's always cool to like jump over enemy lines and shoot them in the back.
Yes, Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, it's a bit late. Definitely feels like that at some point. And I get the feeling if they sort of tried to keep it more to that RPG container rather than this open world exploration container, it'd be a lot better of a game. But I'm still having a really good time with it. Like I'm shitting on it, but these are just sort of a bunch of nitpicks that I'm sort of nitpicking on. Like the writing is fantastic in this game for the main story quests and the fetch quests. Sorry, not the fetch quest, the faction quest. They're fantastic. The movement between going from like different shops and stuff is fantastic. The UI is semi-intuitive when you're selling goods and equipping goods and all that. Equipping clothes and all that kind of stuff. Graphically, I think it is like semi pretty impressive. Like there are a couple of stutters or framey issues. Oh, sorry, not frame issues, but like it's just a lot of like whites and greys. But I think that's just more of a palette choice. And when you're flying around in space is very fun when there is something to do in space. The exploration is pretty good, but it just gets very old very quickly.
Yeah, as long as it gives you a direction sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you have to either make that direction yourself or you have to commit to staying on one direction and not get sidetracked. It's like there's 20 things going on. It's like, okay, Riddlin ingested one focus on this thing for this time. But I'm still really enjoying it. Was this game overhyped? Yes, 100% it was. Like I get the feeling if it wasn't as hyped as what it was, it may have been like better received. But that is...
I feel like that was an impossible thing to hope for though, because this is like, even after all the duds, it's still a Bethesda thing where people are still riding off the high of Skyrim somehow. And like you said, this is like the first really big Xbox release of the year. And all the Xbox
right?
fans wanted it to be the win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because Xbox needed the win or else they would have just fucking shot themselves.
Yeah, and I honestly think this is a win, but I think... So when Skyrim came out...
But you think that if it was on PS5, it would be a bigger win? No, I hear that.
But it's one of those moments where a 7 out of 10 isn't a win enough for some people.
Yeah, like I think people are still comparing like the big thing of Skyrim. It's like, oh, Skyrim was this big thing that overtook everybody and was everything everybody was talking about for like a year or two. It's like, no game is going to be like that anymore. It's just, there's too many things going on. There are too many game releases. There are the people that were playing Skyrim 10, 12 years ago were in like high school, whereas now, like, if I didn't have a job or if I was at high school or something, I probably would have put a shit ton more hours into Starfield, but I've got commitments and stuff. And I think it's just sort of, and I know I have compared it a little bit to Skyrim with the opening, which I think is fair because it's story-based. But gameplay-wise, it has evolved a lot more from Skyrim. And I think the comparisons to Skyrim are a bit like, it's judge this game on its own merits. Don't judge it to another game made by the same studio. But yeah, this is a fucking war crime. When you're in a city, there is no city map.
Oh, I've heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's literally you like be like, all right, cool. Where's the nearest shop? And it's like you go to, and like there's a button that says like the surface map in the pause menu, and it's like it's grayed out, just doesn't exist. So I'm like, okay, there must be a different button. Couldn't find it. Googled it, and it's like, no, these don't exist. And I'm like, cool. Like I don't know
That's
where anything is.
That's a really bad oversight.
It's a fucking horrendous.
I'm sorry, Steve. You said that this was an exploration game. Why would you not want to explore the city to find where you need to sell shit?
Well, when you explore, you usually write things down so you know where to go next time. Well, sorry, or you know where common things are. So when I've got like a 40 bajillion guns
so why
on
aren't
my
you
back,
writing
I
it
know
down
where to
in a
sell them.
notebook?
I don't want to. I want the game to spoon feed me. But then at the same, well, it's got maps for when you're like on the surface of planets, on like the surface of planets that aren't cities or main settlements. But when you get to a main settlement or a city, it's like, nah, no map. It's very, very, very strange. Very weird design oversight choice.
See, the awkward thing with that is that I imagine that's the sort of thing where I don't know what the mod landscape looks like. I don't really care enough to have checked, actually, but that sort of thing sounds like what they would do as a mod. Like, there'd be like an immediate need for a mod like that. But then the question is, does Bethesda then go and make their own one if they know that there's a mod that already fills the gap? You know what I mean? Like, we didn't exactly get updates to Skyrim, as I remember it at least, that did the job of what really ambitious modders were doing, right? Because that's
They do what Capcom does and installs the mods and then ships it out as a special edition on console. But they don't do it for PC because you can just install the mods.
Which I think Skyrim did as well. I could be wrong, but yeah, that sort of thing.
There was a couple like a fishing mini game in like the Ultimate Edition and a couple of other things that they just took up.
But that's not my point. Where I'm trying to get to is that Starfield's already out and there's no map. But the thing is that I've heard from multiple people is something that should have been in the game. So the question is, because there's already a modding community around it, does Bethesda bother?
Yeah, who knows? They did say that there was a map coming, but I don't know what that looks like. Is it a... Yeah, it should be very interesting to see. But yeah, overall,
it's a new map for the Season 2 DLC.
Oh, thank God. What happened to the Season 1 DLC? But no, I've been talking about this game for a while. It is really good. I'm having a great time. I think I haven't been sucked in as much as I thought it was, but I think this is just more because I can't get sucked into things anymore, just because I've got literally, I can't play a video game for 8 hours straight.
Skill issue.
It's just...
You're
right,
Simply chug 30 hours of your favorite game in one weekend.
I need to go outside. I need to do grocery shopping. I need to spend time with a girlfriend, so I'm not a complete loser. I need to go outside and soak up the sun so I can photosynthesize. But anyway, I've had enough. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Well, I will take up the reins because I want to quickly touch on some Monster Hunter Now stuff.
Yay!
I know that I said...
When are you talking about it?
Now, shockingly.
What's the game called?
It's called Steve Sits in a Corner and Be's Quiet. It's a collaboration with Capcom. It's really, really popular, actually. The whole world was requesting it. Already spoke about this a bit last week, so I'm not going to rehash too much of that. A couple quick updates. So, yes, as Seth mentioned, there was an event with Diablos. What was interesting with that was that was a weekend. That was like I can't remember what they were called in Pokemon Go, but like the Outbreak, days. I think. Oh, Community Day. Yeah. What was Outbreak? Was that? I feel like that was like a
They do mass
Scarlet
outbreaks.
Violet, something.
Mass outbreaks in Legends Arceus and Scarlet Violet.
Oh, okay. That's from
You were close.
Yeah, you're right. Community Day. Yep. So similar thing in Monster Hunter. What's interesting is that the Community Day was like, yo, Diablos are going to start appearing more frequently for 3 hours on Saturday and 3 hours on Sunday. And I'm like, oh boy, Diablos. And what was really cool is that they were saying, even if you aren't at the stage of the game where you'd be able to fight Diablos normally, you will still be able to see them so long as you're above a Hunter rank. And the Hunter rank was like 11, I think. So not crazy hard to get to, which was nice. It's a good way to do it in terms of removing barriers to entry, because otherwise, you're too low level. You're like, well, what's the point? Most people that want to play it would get to Hunter rank 11 fairly quickly, I guess, or at least I certainly did. So the day itself, they were like, it'll be between 1 and 4 p.m. I'm like, okay, cool. And so looked at the map, walked around, didn't see anything. Didn't see anything for the whole 3 hours. I'm like, oh, okay, appearing more frequently, huh? Interesting. And that is one downside, because Pokemon community days are just based on the Pokestops. And this one, which I think they called them Huntathons, but the Monster Hunter equivalent is just, if you're in the region, you might see it appear more frequently. And of course, this is only based on the only event that I've seen them do so far. But based on that one event, it was like, they will appear more frequently in the wild. And you're like, I'm in the desert, I see no Diablos, where are they? And obviously, you can make the joke they're under the sand where they normally are, but couldn't even see them on the map. And that is something that is a slight pet peeve, in that if one of your quests is to hunt a particular monster, you can zoom out, but you can't zoom out that far. So you're really only looking at like maybe 1 to 2 kilometer radius, like around you, when it's totally zoomed out, which, I mean, that's not a small, but it's kind of hard. Like, I'd have to walk 15 minutes in a direction and then zoom out and look at the map again and then see if suddenly I can see something that I couldn't see before. So minor annoyance there. I did see a Diablos on the second day. Singular Diablos out of the whole time the outbreak was running. And there are 2 missions involved with Diablos. 1 is use augmented reality to take a photo, and 2 is to hunt and kill one. And so at the time, fighting 4-star monsters.
Hold on, they actually have you doing ecological surveys in this game?
You mean taking a photo with AR?
Yeah. Because that's essentially like the ecological surveys in the other games.
It's true. It's only in there insofar as one of the quests was to take a photo. That was it. Like, I've never been asked to take a photo of anything outside of that. It was like a community. It was like I'm going to keep saying community day.
Yeah, and I say it. We all know.
Congratulations, it's community day now. It was a community day specific quest, and so that's the only reason why it was in there. What was funny was I don't have an old phone, but it's certainly not a new phone anymore. But I had access to AR, and AR has worked flawlessly in Pokemon Go every time. I could not get Monster Hunter Now to work in AR for me. It would be like, slowly move the camera back and forth in a wide open area before we let you load in the monster. And so it's just me sitting like a dumbass, just slowly rotating my phone in like a field going, this should be working. I'm feeling self-conscious. And I never got it to work. I don't know what I was doing wrong. It didn't give me any feedback. I thought it was like a time thing. I did it for like 5 minutes, which seemed like way longer than I would have needed to. Because again, Pokemon Go worked instantly every time I tried to do it with the same phone. So that one was kind of disappointing because it felt like that was out of my hands. And I'd only just started being able to kill 4-star monsters, and the Diablos I found was 5-star, which, if you were to find the Diablos outside of the community day, would almost certainly be 5-star, but it's still kind of a weird dick punch for Niantic to be like, oh, are you not up to fighting Diablos normally? That's okay, you can still fight it. It's the same difficulty. where it'll just kick your teeth in unless you like get an absolutely stacked group together. So, not ideal. So I did not kill it.
Well, you get it next time.
Hopefully, yeah. I'm now able to kill some 5-star monsters.
So when you say you can kill it, and maybe this is me not understanding the mechanics because I'm so brainwashed into remembering Pokemon Go. Is it you can't kill it because you run out of time, or you can't kill it because like it kills you type of thing? How's that work?
So
okay.
In a battle, you have unless you have particular armor skills, you have 100 health and you have 60 seconds to kill a monster.
Okay.
Either of those conditions expire. Either you go down to 0 health, you can pop a potion or a first aid med to revive once, unless you have armor skills. You can also just press a button to give yourself more, like drink a potion in a Monster Hunter game type thing to keep your health topped up, but you only have one, like, revive, effectively, unless you have armor skills. Likewise, the 60-second timer, if that ticks to 0, good luck, go next. And what's interesting is that there are a couple of things that the game does that are just kind of quirky on that. So there's a paintball system, which I think I spoke about, where you can like choose to mark monsters. So if I, sitting where I am right now, am able to fight a monster, I can fight that monster and then back out of that hunt. I can just quit at any time, and the monster will still be there until the timer ticks, like the server time ticks over, and then all the monsters respawn or whatever. If I fight it and I lose, I can fight it again so long as I have enough health to start the quest, which is a 30%. You need 30% health to start a large monster hunt, which, fine. Not great, but fine. And so I'm allowed to keep doing it that way. If I mark the monster, it disappears from the map, and then I only have one chance to kill it, which just seems a little annoying. It's slightly weird, because it's like, I'm not incentivized to mark a monster for later unless I think it's going to despawn. Or I'm walking past it, and I'm not going to have time to fight it there and then. It's just a little annoying, because the game would probably know that it's still available on the map, that I feel like it should give me at least another shot when I'm using a paintball. And likewise, sometimes the game has lagged for me a couple times, where the monster just stands still, and then it goes, hey, you've started encountering network errors. And the timer still ticks down, and it's like, you son of a bitch. Let me just have my lag switch turned on by the monster. I've lost a couple hunts that way, and it's frustrating. Funnily enough, neither of those were the main updates that I wanted to discuss. The main thing that I've found from the update before is that I'm now in the, what I want to call the gacha grind curve, where
oh yeah,
earlier on,
love that.
Yeah, earlier on, it was like, yeah, you fight some monsters, and it's generally pretty easy, and you get a bunch of resources and things, and everything's cool. Now, and I think I started talking about it last week, where rarities, you start getting locked into different equipment sets based on the rarity of a specific item, which is fast becoming just one of my least favorite things. And so that has a gacha mechanic. So let me explain. So when you do a quest for a monster, like this is like a story quest, sometimes story quests will say, if you kill this monster, we will give you a particular material, and it's usually a higher rarity material. Normally, there's just a percentage chance to just get that material. What is frustrating is, for these rarer materials, they're kind of like gems, or orbs, or pauldrons, or other, insert the name of the material in Monster Hunter here. And so, when you get one in Monster Hunter, you generally only need 1 or 2. And in Monster Hunter now, you need 2 of them for everything you want to use them for. And so you just get into this weird, let me go fight this 5-star Pookie Pookie for a chance to get this 4-star, like this rarity 4 material. And I have the same chance, I'm assuming I have a higher chance, but like me fighting the 5-star and then not getting the material is like, okay, why did I just waste all my resources fighting this 5-star? And then similarly, in the future, I might just randomly find a 4-star and then fight it and then get one. And it doesn't feel like the rarity is tied to the difficulty of the monster, where you can just dump a bunch of resources into a fight and then you don't get anything back. And that has 2 effects. One, it just sucks. And it's very expensive to fight, at least in my case, a 5-star monster. But 2,
Yeah, no, sorry, just on that point.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you'll explain it and I cut you off too early. But what is the point of fighting a 5-star monster at that point? What is the benefit?
The benefits are that you expect to get more materials back from fighting it, and it's also just it's kind of like a spawn bias thing. Like, it might just be that the only monster of that type that is near you is a 5-star, and there's no 4-star that you can see on your map. And so you then make the choice, do I use the resources now and try fighting this 5-star? Or do I walk at least 2 kilometers in a particular direction and then check the map again, hoping that I can see a 4-star somewhere instead? Does that make sense? It's kind of like there's like two conditions that you have to think of when you go through it.
Yeah, that puts it into a bit of a perspective.
Yeah, and so the annoying thing, I keep saying 5-star. I don't know if monsters go above 5-star. I assume they do, but 5-star is currently the max that I can fight. The second annoying thing is that even though I struggle to kill 5-star monsters within 60 seconds, or struggle to stay alive from monsters that kill me in 60 seconds, I have several times been able to break apart, and the timer ticks down to 0, and then the game's like, "Aw, even though you cut the tail off, you get nothing. Sorry." And that's shitty, because even in regular Monster Hunter games, if you damage a part or carve the tail or something, you get that even if you don't succeed in the main quest. And I know this is it's because it's a mobile game. I don't expect it to be like a 1-to-1 thing, but
you put in all that work, though. That's rough. That's not fair at all.
Exactly. It's 60 seconds of you fighting a monster, probably downing some of your recovery items, and then, gets to the last 10 seconds, you're like, oh, it's going to be close, it's going to be close. And then you might be 2 hits away. And because you're 2 hits away, but the 60 seconds ran out, even if you broke parts, nothing, good luck, go next.
Even though it's just 60 seconds, the whole reason Monster Hunter does that in the first place with the main games is just so even if you failed a quest, it doesn't feel like you've wasted your time doing it. You've still made some progress. Yep.
All of that. The second quirk, much less painful, but just would have been nice to have. On the back of the needing the rare materials thing, in more recent Monster Hunter games, if you need resources and you have a higher rarity resource, you can use that higher rarity resource. So I'll give you an example. One of the things that I'm trying to upgrade at the moment is my Anjanath Sword and Shield. I need 7 tails Anjanath for those Sword and Shield.
Jesus.
Which is just a weirdly high number of tails. But the thing is, a tail is a rarity 3 item, and I have a bunch of rarity 4 Anjanath items that I cannot use for it to compensate for it, which is just weird. I feel like I should be able to. And the thing is, that's not a problem for me now. But from reading around online, apparently, for people that really get into the game, you start getting locked on specific things like that, where if you don't have the materials you need to upgrade, you will hit the item box cap when Niantic then goes, you can't store any more items. Money, please. Because there's no way to upgrade that outside of just your mum's credit card.
Absolutely fucking dog shit.
And
oh man,
I'm sure there are some items that you don't need that you can just delete out of your item box, and then that creates the space. But the fact that people have complained
you
about
might need those items
cap,
though.
Exactly. Steve, I know. I'm on your side here.
Monster Hunter is definitely a game where you might need those items.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, what's really funny is that hits really close to home, because in Monster Hunter Generations, that happened to me, where you have 14 pages of items, but you can store up to 99 of something in a particular slot. So if you have 100, that takes up 2 slots instead of 1. And so what's funny is towards the end of my time on Generations on DS, where 14 pages was the max, was frequently having to get rid of items because I didn't have any more space. And once it goes to Ultimate, you now get more pages and things, and I'm no longer locked. What was funny was seeing Reddit comments of, how the fuck did you fill 14 pages of items? And it's like, I found a way. It is not outside the realm of possibility. Final couple things. So far, have not found any armor sets that have an armor set bonus, which I don't know if that'll change on future ones, but it would have been nice if you have all of a particular thing equipped to get an extra perk or an extra bonus. And biggest quirk, which I've already kind of alluded to, is just forging something already requires rarity for whatever item that's already hard to get. 2 of them, in fact, it's already hard to get. The same thing, you can, when you get 2 of these items, of which, 2 of these items, you can either put it towards a particular armor piece or a weapon. So, you like playing Sword and Shield, but you want to see what it looks like with the hammer? Pick one. And whichever one you don't pick, you have to go through the same process of how do I get 2 more rarity 4 materials just so I can stick them into the hammer? Having a way to refund materials to stick it into other things would be so good. And it wouldn't even, I don't think it would even really break the Niantic money model of the game, because there's no way to buy resources. You can't increase your chances of getting resources beyond buying more recovery items. So it's really annoying that the game has already told me, hey, you have a really good sword and shield. Like, it's just a rarity above everything else. There is no point upgrading other things because I'm not going to use those other weapons, because the one weapon I do have in use is just too good. There's no point downgrading to another one. But being able to refund out of that high rarity weapon into another high rarity weapon would be amazing to try just other weapon types and things. Because using a hammer is fun, using a greatsword is fun, but there's no point spending the resources to upgrade a whole bunch of them if instead I'm just going to keep one really good thunder sword and shield and a really good fire sword and shield, a really good poison sword and shield, on and on and on. And then the whole splitting into 5 rarities to upgrade stuff to get to the next level. Even some of the like mid upgrades, like you forge it, it requires level rarity 4 materials. You upgrade it, it requires rarity 4 materials. It's just like, oh man, we into the gacha grind, boys.
Well, it's not even gacha grind. That's just grind. Like, you're not even pulling a cute anime girl at that point. You just, I don't know. That kind of really turned me off it. Like, I was thinking about giving it a try.
It's the sort of thing, like I've come to terms with it, and I bought one of those like dumb starter packsy sort of things, which in my head makes sense. I did that pretty soon after getting the game as like a one-off thing. But seeing how it's kind of funny, right? Because seeing how little I would be able to get by putting money into it, like it's not even all of my problems go away if I pay $10. That doesn't happen. It's I can see what paying $10 gets me in this game, and it's not enough to justify the $10. So I'm at peace with that, and I still enjoy playing Monster Hunter now. But I know that it is very, very unlikely that I'll put any more money into it. But it's frustrating because if Niantic changed a couple things, I would absolutely be much more likely to put money into it.
Do you reckon they will change a couple of things? Like, I'm not. What's the community looking like? Is it a strong community?
I'm not even sure. I've played a couple multiplayer games. Have just happened to be bumping into people who are fighting a monster in a similar spot, and it's like, hey, there's someone else nearby.
IRL,
do you want to link up? I didn't see them IRL. It's like a proximity thing of where two people are playing Monster Hunter in a similar location. Do you want to hunt the same thing?
Like similar as in like what Pokemon Go has, the raid mechanic, and that's like what?
Yeah, similar sort of thing. Yeah. It's like
cool. So you might be able to see them. Hey, make friends.
Yeah,
Go
people. Ew, yuck, patooey, disgusting. And the multiplayer works pretty well.
Says the man who set up a Mario Kart tournament.
The multiplayer works pretty well though. We'll give it that.
Cool.
Yeah, I was surprised how smooth that went. But yeah, it's really funny because like I feel like this is now the last update because now I've seen where everything goes, and Niantic could like I could have been one of the whales Niantic wants because they have all of the pieces of a really good and addictive mobile experience, but they hamstring themselves by just making a couple decisions that kind of don't make sense for what I think of as a Monster Hunter game, let alone on a mobile. So I'm at peace with Niantic not taking my money. That's better for everyone. But at the same time, it's like, man, they could, like they could have very easily made way more money off of me and other people like me if they'd just not fucked around with equipment like they have.
Which is a weird thing to think about because the point of a mobile game is to make people go, you know what? I need to spend money on this.
It is.
It's a very psychological thing they do.
It is. One thing that I did say, final thing I'll say, from you asking about the community, from me reading around on the AR stuff was how I read into the people hitting the limits with the item boxes and a couple other complaints and things. One of the things that apparently Niantic has done, or at least did do once, is between the pre-release build and the release build. So I've been playing since 1.0. Some people have been playing since pre 1.0, and apparently somewhere in the 1.0 release thing, Niantic didn't announce anything. They just shadow nerfed a bunch of shit, which, like, not changing the monetization model, but them doing that is weird because it's a PvE game. Why? what benefit do you get, like shadow nerfing shit?
Do those nerfs like push you towards wanting, like, not you specifically, but like, is it done with the express purpose of pushing people towards maybe putting more money into the game?
I don't even think that's the case. It's like removing a weakness from a monster, but they don't give you a way of putting money in to make it easier to fight that monster with the thing that you have. It like the only gacha mechanic that they have around resources is it costs in-game currency to, when you fight a monster, double the number of resources you get as a result. That's it. That's the only mechanic. And based on NZ prices, it'd cost me $3.50 to do that if I wanted to. But that doesn't give me all the resources I need to craft a weapon or upgrade a weapon or have the non-monster materials to upgrade that weapon or all these other things that maybe there are people that see that and go, I need to double resources to smooth out my grind every time, in which case, power to you. But I don't get it. It's such an odd... When I think of greedy mobile game, I would not have thought of a mechanic like that as this is the way we separate kids from their wallets. But if Niantic wants a way to turn me into a whale, drop me a line. We do some sort of sponsored deal. I tell you how to just get rid of my credit card, sit down, we have a few laughs. Anyway, yeah, that's Monster Hunter. So overall, it is still, as a mobile game, I would still put it as an 8 or a 9 out of 10 because there is no pressure to become a cash cow. But it is hard because I'm having to grade that against what other mobile games are, which is predominantly shit, against the couple of niggles and annoyances that I have with Monster Hunter now. But I don't remember what I gave it last week, but it's still sitting at an 8, but I see where the future's going. It'll remain at an 8. It's just whether I continue to play it as much as I have been. But speaking of playing it as much as I have been, I heard you've been playing some Soul Hackers too, Seth.
Yeah, Soul Hackers, it's something that I started up a couple months ago, and then I did a session, and then I got COVID, so I didn't continue. And then after I recovered from COVID, Tears of the Kingdom came out, and then Final Fantasy 16 came out, so it's just been sitting on the back burner for a little while for me. So now that like all of my commitments are done, the Final Fantasy 16 spoiler cast is out. I finished that game. I finished Tears of the Kingdom, and Spider-Man isn't out for another month. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back to this now and actually finish off the streams for it. It's not that impressive of a game, honestly. So what Soul Hackers is just a smaller scale Shin Megami Tensei game. And for people who don't know what Shin Megami Tensei is, that is the the originator of the Persona series.
Yeah, first Pokemon.
Yeah, right. That too. Yeah, so you go around, you fight demons, you catch them. In this game, you don't really have a demon negotiation mechanic. It's just like whatever demons are around in the area, when you speak to your demons out on the map, there's a chance some of them are just like, oh yeah, so one of the demons you fought earlier, they want to join the team now. Do the thing they asked for, and then they'll join the team. It can be anything from like, I want your HP, or I want your MP, or I want your healing items, and you just hand them over and they join your team. It's not that deep or engaging. Also fun thing to mention, this game's made on Unity.
Oh no. About to ruin this whole man's career.
Wait. So you played it and then deleted it and then downloaded it and then played it and then deleted it and downloaded it again, right?
No, I am not that mean to Atlas. Although I should be, considering what they do for their streaming guidelines for every one of their games.
Oh yeah, they hate people streaming their games because it's very story based, and it's like, well, if you're watching the story, you don't need to buy our game.
Yeah, it's always like, oh yeah, you can stream it up until this point, and then stop.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so like Persona, they had, when Persona 5 Royal came out, they put out a message going, yeah, so we want people to experience this game like as much as possible, and there's a lot of new things we've added. So when you get up to November such and such on the in-game calendar, you are not allowed to stream past this. And people ignore it. Some people get like those videos taken down by Atlas, like they're claimed by Atlas. Some people just don't get touched. They've done it for a majority of their games. Yeah, it's wild. I don't think they've done anything for Soul Hackers 2 because it's that low budget of a game. Like, you can tell this game is being made with like bubblegum as the budget. It's just like all the dungeons are flat, like super flat, super generic looking. Side quests have you go back to those dungeons multiple times. The tutorial dungeon, the shipping district, I think I've had like 4 quests now that require me to go back into that one. And it's like a 2-minute long trek with portals thrown in as well. So that 2-minute trek becomes like a 5-second one. There's like no actual elevation to the maps. And to pad out the game as well, they have these digital mindscape levels, which are just... You know how Mementos in Persona 5 is just like a random generated dungeon that uses the same assets over and over again? Or thrown in, and they change like every 10 or so levels. This is like that, but instead of being randomly generated, it's like they've designed a floor at a time, and all of those floors use the same assets across all the different mind palaces. So like you're going into 3 different characters' minds, but all of their minds look the exact same. It's super cheap. It's been an interesting lesson in playing this though, because it's made me learn how to filter what is streamable content and what isn't.
What do you mean by that? Oh, like the shit parts where you're just doing nothing versus the good. This is fun.
Yeah, okay, essentially. So whenever it's story related or it's a side quest that involves dialogue, I will stream those parts. But there's a lot of requests that are just they're not voice acted. So it's just like, quick dialogue box, go find this thing, go return it sort of thing. And I'm just like, yeah, no, I don't need to show that on stream. I'll do that off stream sort of thing.
What if you just download a mod that removes the story?
I'm playing this on PS5, so I can't use mods.
Oh. What if you just homebrew your PS5 to download a mod to just get rid of the story?
Then I wouldn't be streaming this game.
Got him.
The only parts of the game that are like not voice acted that I have streamed myself are the things that are like pushing the character relationships forward, because as much as I'm dogpiling this game for being cheap and not super engaging in like what it's presenting, it's written really well and the characters are really strong. The story at the moment, I'm still really early on, so I don't have a good grasp on like the quality of that, but the main character writing is very good, so I'm enjoying it from that front. Like, give me 1 second to pull up some dialogue, because it doesn't want to bring it up at the moment. But when you beat one of the first tutorial bosses, it's a rapper, and he's like really, really shit at rapping. Like, he's got no flow, no rhymes, no nothing. After you defeat him, the main character Ringo just drops the line, "I'm no Reaper, but I can send you to hell, so face the music, RS, you take the L."
That's
and I thought that was fun. I think that's great.
He's spitting for real.
She is. Ringo also has a lot of, as the youngins say, she has a lot of drip.
Don't say that.
She's a super charismatic character, so I like playing as her. Most of the characters in this are pretty charismatic. There's just one guy that's a little plain, but the whole point of him is that he is a straight man of the group. So yeah, no, it's been an interesting game so far.
Are you enjoying it though? It seems like you're sort of on the fence. Like the fact that you called it a budget game at the start rang some alarm bells.
Yeah, no, I went into this knowing it was going to be a budget game. So
cool.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind smaller scale games like this as long as they're not super boring. And it hasn't been like super boring. It's just like, it's not doing a lot, but it's hitting enough right buttons for me to play it and to just go through with that. I am enjoying it. But yeah, a lot of the charm from it comes from the dialogue and the story. And if you bounce off of that sort of stuff, then maybe it's not for you, sort of thing.
It's
also kind of nutty that they have like this entire side quest chain that runs parallel to the story of the game, and that's paid DLC.
Oh, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, as a big fan of Persona, would you recommend this to a big fan of Persona, or is it more like the entry level type of stuff? Like, is it fair to compare it to Persona?
It's not fair to compare it to Persona at all, because like Atlas does similar things across their games and like gameplay and visualization and like style and everything, but this is coming at like a super low level of engagement, where Persona like even budget, and Persona is like where they're putting all their money at the moment. Like Persona is where you go for like Atlas is flaunting their dick right now. They're doing everything they can to get you on board. Soul Hackers is more like Soul Hackers 2 is more if you enjoy Atlas's style of game, this is something cheap to get into to just tide you over until the next big Atlas thing.
Okay.
In saying that, I'm looking at the Steam price and just regularly it's $100 and that's a fucking ripoff. Australian dollars, I'd probably put this at like 50 is the upper limit.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not. Maybe my tune will change once I get deeper into the game and finish it. But I think 50 at the most seems fair. But that's only if you get the edition that comes with the bonus story DLC as well.
Did you get the DLC? Because you got it like early on. Okay, good. So is the DLC any good? Would you rate the DLC?
I can't really rate that at the moment, because I've only done 2 chapters of the DLC, and those unlock as I go through chapters of the game. But that's running okay at the moment. The new character they introduced for that, Nana, she's pretty funny. She's your general glutton anime girl character, but she's got a fun story going on at the moment, where it seems like some sort of demon is involved with her, or maybe it's just whenever she gets too hungry, she starts slashing out at people.
Are we really saying that people that are hangry just need an exorcist?
Isn't that what a Snickers is?
An exorcist. Refilm the exorcist, but the priest is just a Snickers bar.
Could be honest on you, fellas.
I mean, you're not wrong, Patrick, because what I did was I did beat the shit out of her with demons to stop her hanger murder rampage.
I see.
But yeah, no, it's an interesting game so far, and I appreciate it for teaching me some stream culture.
Would you say that you are now a cultured streamer?
No, not at all, because the one guy that's been watching and interacting with my stream, me and him got into a conversation about which character has the most riz.
Do you know this person, or is it a stranger?
It's a stranger that just found my stream, and he's been sitting there and watching and interacting with all of my Soul Hackers stream. I found the one Soul Hackers 2 fan in the world. Or rather, he found me.
Interesting. I don't know what to say about that, but did you show the podcast to him?
My Twitch page shields the podcast already.
No. Close. Cool.
Yeah, but
that's
Seth, people that watch your stream can't read.
I mean, they know how to type, so I assume they can read.
Well, hang on. Let them read. Yeah, I don't know if you convinced me to buy this game. Is it on Game Pass? I don't know. Get the feeling.
I think it might be.
Soul Hackers 2 Game Pass. I'm just filling the void while I'm typing it out. Yep, it's on PC Game Pass, apparently.
On PC Game Pass.
It's probably on both. It's just PC Game Pass is the first one that came up.
Actually, is it even on Xbox?
Yes, it is out on Xbox.
It is, yeah.
It came out like 6 months later. Cool. I probably won't be playing it. Because don't forget, this is a sequel to a game that came out like 40,000 years ago, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. The first Soul Hackers was a PS1 game, and it's not even really a sequel. It's just a whole new game that just uses the Soul Hackers name, because not even for the same reasons that the original PS1 game used Soul Hackers. Because this is literally like, I'm hacking people's souls to revive them sort of thing, where the other one was, when the original was like Sword Art Online, where people's souls got sucked into the datascape.
God, I hate Sword Art Online so much.
I mean, it was before Sword Art Online ruined that trope.
Hang on. Okay. Yeah, no, cool. I'm done. Thank you for answering my question.
Yeah, no problem. I will come with a better score when I finish this, but right now it's sitting at probably like a 6, maybe a 7, which is like using the proper scale. No, using the proper scale where 5 is average. So it's leaning towards, it's average, but I'm enjoying it average.
Yeah, it's a 6.
Cool.
They big titty anime girls in this?
There are, yes.
That's
multiple.
Fucking degenerate. Absolutely degenerate.
There's also a guy with fedora and shark teeth.
Oh, okay, that's it.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing when you said that's it that way.
No, it's bad. Anyway, move on. We don't need to get into this.
There's also a mascot character that's like a mix between a penguin and an owl.
Keep going. As in, like, with a podcast. I'm done. Put a fork in me, I'm done.
Right. Final word from you, Seth, or good to move on?
Move on, but to the other topic that I had in mind, because I told you guys yesterday before we were recording, I had the Steam charts for the week ready. Unless you wanted to take over that somehow.
I did not. I completely forgot about that. Holy cow. Thank you for saving the episode.
You're welcome.
Steamcharts. Yes, with the sweet, sweet Steamchart goodness. What have we got today, Chef Seth?
Yeah, so we've done a lot of things where we dunk on things for underperforming, or we just look at things that are very recent. I want to go ahead and try and uplift something that's doing good. EA fixed Titanfall 2. The online's working again. People are playing that game.
Way.
A lot of people are playing that game.
No way.
More like Titan Rise, am I right, fellas?
No.
Damn.
So I don't really have I didn't do big digging on this. I'm just looking at last month's peak numbers and then this month's peak numbers. I want you guys to guess each one. So what was the peak last month? And then what was the peak this month?
So the peak last month has been the multiplayer was broken?
And you know what? For the sake of making it 3 points, give me the all-time peak as well.
Fucking 3 points, man. It's fucking homework.
I'm not even sure if that's
all-time
possible.
peak.
Hang on, just one sec here, because this you're doing this through Steamcharts, yeah? But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Titanfall 2 is an EA Origin title, so is that one-to-one mapping?
It still tracks Steam players because they can launch it through Steam.
Yeah, okay, cool. So right, so it won't be all of them, but it could be a lot of them. And so in terms of the last 2 months, last month broken, this month fixed?
Last month's broken, this month's fixed.
All right. I'm going to just reach into the void and pull out 100 players, 100 player peak last month. We'll do 5,000 player peak this month, and all time, I'm going to say, because it did get shafted by Battlefield 1, we'll do 20,000 all-time peak.
So I'm just going to repeat that back. Last month was 100.
Yeah.
This month is 500, and all time was 20k.
No. This month is 5,000.
Oh, 5,000. Okay.
Yeah, with it
Yep.
fixed.
And
then
all time is 20k.
No, we'll do 25
25 peak.
Make it 155. Yeah, 155.
Okay. And Steven?
I want to say 50 last month, 10,000 this month, and 80,000 peak.
My boy betting big on the stonks.
Always go big, always go big.
In Price is Right rules, Patrick wins one of these because of Steven vastly overestimating.
Ah, damn it.
Hey, that happens a lot, Steve. Don't worry. You get the low angle and correct lighting, you'll be there.
You got to raise it, have like a big banana or something in the background.
No, just a small hand.
Last month is 3,248. So Patrick wins.
That's so much higher than I thought.
Yep.
Holy shit.
And that's almost at your this month peak.
I know. Yeah.
This month, Steven gets the point because it's 22,733 players.
Ooh.
I'm so happy with that. I've never been happier to be wrong, although I'm still upset that I'm wrong to Steve.
Rounding it out, Patrick has 2 points and Steven has 1 because the all-time peak is 27,547. So I just want to put into perspective, this month's peak is almost at the all-time peak. It's like 5k away.
You know what's so? I'll take the prize of your love and respect. Thank you very much to you both. But you know what's really funny? I thought about bringing up that I picked up Titanfall 2 in the PlayStation Store because it's on sale for $8, and I'm like, there's no way I'm not picking this up again.
Yeah,
on
Titanfall 2 regularly goes on
through
sale. It's at the moment it's $40 on Steam, so it's not on sale right now. But I'm pretty sure I picked it up for like $4.
That's all right.
Well, because my I don't know if I've shared this more widely, but I played Titanfall 2 on launch, one of those on Origin as soon as it came out. But the PC that I played that on is dead. Pending possibly a replacement PSU. Hopefully that's all that needs to be replaced, because if it's more than that, I probably ain't fixing it up. So to pay $8 for a game, because I've been meaning to play through the single player of Titanfall 2 again. And so for $8 to have the privilege of doing that on PlayStation at my leisure, where there's no dead PSU involved yet, hopefully, God forbid, seemed like a really good deal. So yeah, it's really funny that that's just come up more topically. I didn't see in the news that they'd fixed up the multiplayer.
Yeah, no, that happened like
last
a week or two ago.
Yeah.
I forgot to put it on the docket, but it's a pretty recent thing to happen.
It's probably cheating because it might be obvious to you having looked at the Steam charts, but do you have any idea how old Titanfall 2 is? Just offer it. Aimed more so at Steven, I guess.
Surely it's like 10 years old or something.
Yeah, no, I don't know, actually. Give me 1 second.
While I look it up.
It doesn't show it on Steam charts at the moment.
No. I know when it came out, so have a guess.
Well, I've already got it up.
2014. No, 2014. Can I guess? 2014.
Oh, okay. Wrong. Price is right. You lose.
2013.
No, seven
It came
years
out
old.
2016.
Not 10.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I said
it's a
2016.
replay that.
No, 2014. Can I guess? 2014. 2014. 2014. No.
We're going to go to the touch judge. We're going to go to the VAR. VAR calls it out. Go fuck yourself, Steve.
Damn.
Anyway, thank you for that trip down
Hang on,
memory
this
lane.
Price is Right rule. They didn't lose
always
because
happy
he didn't
to
go
hear that.
over. Wait a minute. This is a fucking scam. You just want me to fail.
You did go over. You said 10.
I said 10
What the
years
fuck
old. What do you mean?
Yeah, you said it was older than it is.
And the answer was 7. You went over.
Wait. Oh, okay.
You went
no.
too far back.
All right, Steve. Quick question. What's a bigger number, 10 or
Here we go.
7?
No, I meant like, because I said 13 or 14, whenever it came out, but it came out in 2016. Like I didn't go over. Look, it's semantics. We're getting hung up. I'm getting angry because I
You're
need
not
a
even
break.
getting a half point.
Okay.
In fact, I'm reducing your point from the Titanfall thing. Patrick, you're now winning 2-0.
At least I play. You cheated, Seth. You looked it
Thank
up. You disqualified, man. I'm the only one in the race. I win.
We got to give one back to Steven. If we were playing the Price is Right rules from the point in time when Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, was alive, then he would have won.
Our Lord and Savior. He didn't play video games.
And
Yeah, you got proof.
hey, he fucking
Yes.
he fucking died. He fucking died for the sins of jokes you've made on this platform. Okay,
He did
you
good.
leave him alone.
Thanks, big fella. See you
He
on
died so
Sunday.
you could get away with the game award.
You know what? Cut to commercial. I've had enough. Very close to being cancelled, fellas.
Every day we walk that line.
Every day,
anyway.
not even every podcast, it's every day.
It's every day.
Every
with
day
you.
I'm shuffling.
I hold it in until we get to recording, so it's like a week's worth of cancellation built up to
You know what?
this
Shut
one.
up. Go to break.
this one
Cut to commercial.
recording.
Cut him off, Pat. Cut him off.
We'll be right back. No, we're now at the end of part 1 for this week. Thank you very much to you both. As always, move on to part 2 for this week, which is of course the news. Absolutely stacked news because there's so much shit happening in the world. God damn. Starting off,
The news you can trust.
don't take that to the bank because if that's a lawsuit waiting to happen, Steve. We don't trust us, but also
We vet our
don't
sources.
trust us. Just laugh at the memes, get informed, and then go corroborate sources with somewhere else. There we go. Now that all our legal liability is out of the way, starting off with Netflix. So, some movie news, some Netflix news, some writers news. It's all kind of rolled into one. Writer's strike is officially over. It's been what three months of striking or longer.
Yeah,
It's been
109
since-
days, I think it was, to be
Yeah,
specific.
That sounds about right.
It's
pretty
one of
crazy.
the longest strikes they've had. It's much longer than the one that was in 2008.
And yeah, it's already done large amounts of damage. So big list of concessions and bits and pieces. Is there anything specifically you wanted to call out with regards to the strikes? I guess either of you, but Seth.
Just basically the removal of all things AI. Like, studios can't use AI. They can't send scripts that are generated by AI. They can't force studio writers to use AI. So that, yeah, just getting that out of the industry altogether is a great move.
Yeah, that's a shame. I wanted those billion-dollar companies to earn more money.
Well,
I'm joking. I do not really believe this.
the news
we
you can
all
trust,
should
he
eat them.
said.
And just to make this more towards the Netflix side, the writers having it, like, getting direct access to, well, here's all the statistics of how many people watched the show every month, and you'll get royalties based on how many people watch that show every month.
But you see,
that's also going to be very interesting.
I don't think it's that straightforward, though, because it sounds like they still don't want to release that information at all. So they will show particular writers the stats relevant for their shows, but then they have to sign NDAs that they can't disclose those numbers to any other writers or the public.
Yeah, no, that's fine, as long as, like, the people that are working on those shows get those numbers and get the royalties based on those numbers properly. Not having to go public with it, that's
Cowards.
a bit of a shame. Yeah, the studios are cowards. But as long as the people involved with the show are getting in the know, that's fine. And honestly, this industry is pretty loose-lipped.
Imagine a couple months from now, the largest Netflix leak, we see how many people are watching Squid Game 2. Main thing I want to call out is that this deal is only lasting until 2026. So it's not like...
We'll go on strike again.
Right, but like this isn't a crazy good long-term solution. This is pretty good terms for what the writers wanted for 2 years, but it is also, well, I guess 3, but it is also only 3 years. It's not like, I don't know if people
I imagine that
life
just
decisions
means that
around
they
it.
have to renegotiate at the end of it.
I'm sure it does, but I'm saying like it would be crazy if in 3 years from now there was another 100+ day writers' strike, right? Like there has to be some. I'm surprised the length of time on this deal is so short for how big the strike was. Is what I mean.
Right. Yeah. No. I guess it's just probably some sort of arbitrary number that they had to do the deal until this amount of time, and then after that it rolls over to a bigger one. And I don't think the studio heads and CEOs will want to fuck with another strike, because they've seen from this one that if they, no matter how much they try to bleed the writers out, they're getting the support they need to keep the strikes going.
Yeah, that's basically.
It's very interesting as well that
out.
they're getting support from like rich and famous actors as well. Like, it's hard when you're talking about like general labor strikes, and here we go. We're talking about communism, kiddies. So if you are trying to like wait them out, usually you sort of starve out workers, but you can't really do that when you've got like actors that have like $1 billion sort of being like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, the big one I know was that like Seth MacFarlane donated $5 million towards their cause.
Yeah, a whole bunch of them. It was good to see, good solidarity with it.
Well,
interesting because they write the act, like the actors are performing what the writers have written. So
yeah, but
they're buddies, they're bros.
The Seth MacFarlane thinks he was under fire for being on the wrong side of the writers' strike in 2008.
Was he actually?
I'm pretty sure.
I remember about that one.
I might be about to put my foot in my mouth, but I'm pretty sure there was some stuff that came out that actually maybe I'm just gonna Google this quickly before I. Because I typically like Seth MacFarlane, which is why this one sticks out to me as something that he did it for the 2008 strikes.
Okay, well, while you search that up, I have one for this strike, which is resident dickhead Stephen Amell was very against the strike and just saying, why can't people all just work together sort of thing? And he was advertising a show he made while the strike was going on, so he was going like against everything that they were going to do. His show got cancelled. Get fucked, dickhead.
Must have had all the shit writers writing for it, that's why. Did you find out?
It was a TV show about heel wrestling. We already have that. It's called WWE.
It seems that I have the wrong side. It must have been someone else. Shoot.
Matt Parker and Trey Stone, like a thing about those,
I didn't get involved at all. I think they just laughed their way out of the bank. I'm sure they would get involved. That's a bit cruel, actually. I'm sure they would get involved, but they typically only come out in favor of something if either it's funny or it's controversial, and being in support of workers' rights isn't either of those. So I wouldn't expect to hear their voice among any other. It must have been something else. I wonder if it was.
I know Seth MacFarlane got hit for the Quagmire's dad transgender episode.
Yeah, I rewatched that episode like a couple months ago. Fuck, that episode's so dated. It does not hold up. But when
It
did
was
episode
dated
come
when
out?
it came out.
Was it? Oh, no.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
don't
why
know.
it got hit.
I was a fucking kid when that came out. Shouldn't have been watching it.
Oh, I think I'm remembering only a half truth with the Seth MacFarlane thing. I didn't mean to spend so long on this segment. It's more just because, as I say, I typically like Seth MacFarlane, and it rubbed me the wrong. Of course, this isn't loading. Yeah, I think what it was, at least based on one article, is that it was an interview. It was something between Seth MacFarlane and Jon Stewart, and it was Jon Stewart, host of the Daily Show, or the previous host of the Daily Show. He, who I also quite like and respect, apparently wasn't a massive fan of the writers' strike in 2007-2008 because it was affecting the writers on his show. I think that's what it was, and Seth MacFarlane, I think, even brought that up. See if there's any sort of soundbite I can grab.
Yeah, a lot of Daily Show hosts hate the strikes happening.
Yeah. Here we go. Even Family Guy creator Seth MacFarlane expressed shock at Stewart's abrasiveness and hostility in 2007 during the WGA strike. Stewart crossed the picket line to continue hosting his show. That's what it was. And then MacFarlane ribbed Stewart for the act of hypocrisy. Stewart publicly insisted he supported the strike, yet and then undermined his fellow writers by continuing to work. And then became furious with MacFarlane over criticism, mercilessly berating him in an hour, in a profane hour-long phone call.
Good. Get fucked, dickhead.
What do you mean? That was the wrong side.
No. Good that he good that he got mad at Seth MacFarlane ribbing him for an hour-long phone call. Like, he deserved it.
No, wrong way around. MacFarlane ribbed him, and so Stewart rang him, and then profanely screamed at him in an hour-long phone call.
Oh, okay. I merged the two, thinking that Seth MacFarlane ribbed him for an hour over the phone.
No, other way around.
At what point?
Still, he deserves a ribbing. Get fucked.
Yeah, exactly.
At what point do you just like
Take
hang
the
up
L?
if someone's yelling? If someone's yelling at me for an hour over the phone, like, just hang up. Like,
I mean,
See,
I don't know.
we yell at
the
you
funnier thing
regularly
is to
for
just
2
put the
hours.
phone down and let them continue.
Yeah, exactly.
that's true.
No. You record yourself to say, "Damn, that's crazy," every so often,
Yeah.
and then you just let them have at it. Anyway, we should move on. We have other similar industry news. Oh, you want
just real quick, yeah. One more thing. Just while on the topic of strikes, this one's over. It seems like writers for games are going to go on strike soon. Maybe general games industry might go on strike soon. And VFX just got unionized. Maybe they'll strike as well, like, because of how bad Marvel treats the VFX companies in America. So there's a lot of things to look out for strikers happening. Like, every creative industry is getting in on this at the moment, and I think that's good. Like, get the workers paid more.
I agree, but I definitely
Solidarity.
don't think podcast editors should go on strike. I think they earn enough as it is.
Hold on, let me check my bank account. I haven't been paid a single time for editing.
And that is exactly what you deserve, Seth.
Well, you know what? Think about it like this way. Pat hasn't been paid for hosting. I haven't been paid for bringing funny content. Like,
do you?
Maybe you got to start investing in us so we can invest in you.
I think what.
Hold on, let me take this to the CEO.
Who? Literally who?
Don't.
I think what would be funny is that of the three of us, Steve would be the most likely.
You know who brought this together.
Steve would be the one most likely to unionize, just so that we can union bust Steve live on pod.
He's most likely to unionize because we keep editing out all his good jokes.
All of my good jokes are in the break.
No, you were right the first time.
I know, I thought it was pretty funny. The one time I just bleeped out every time he made a joke.
You're fucking. I hate you. Just make me animal noises again. That's always funny. This is a dumb podcast. I should be being paid for animal noises. Remember the ow at the start of the episode?
Yeah,
know, because I couldn't hear it.
That was actually a really funny joke, and then Seth just replaced it.
Anyway, move on. No unions, hell. It's just podcast. Just work.
Netflix announcing that we might be getting. Sorry, not that we might be. That we are. Sorry, like they announced it. Dummy me. Tomb Raider: Legend of Lara Croft animated series. Based on the trailer alone, kind of updated art style Legend of Korra a little bit.
I think it might be the same studio.
That would make sense.
The thing for me is that I'm very surprised that it's going to be based on the reboot Tomb Raider.
Interesting.
I would have thought that doing this they would have based it on original Tomb Raider, since reboot does fine. It sells enough.
But it's no pyramid chest.
Yeah, it's no pyramid chest, and that's what we all want out of Tomb Raider. We want the pointy boobs.
You know, very dangerously close, fellas. I was going to make the joke, but you beat me to it. I don't care about this one. I'll be honest with you. I know we all cared about my take, but
that's okay, Steve. Could we get you to care about? Let me just check my notes. A Devil May Cry anime series.
Nope.
Too bad. I do.
Don't care. Didn't ask.
This one's been in the works for quite a while. Like I think it was like 3 years ago. Adi Shankar announced that his studio was going to be doing this show. Like they got the rights to do it, and it went radio silent until just now. It looks good. It looks like what you'd expect from an Adi Shankar animated thing. Because I believe he did work on the original like the Castlevania show.
And other things that Adi Shankar, I know, of course, I know everything. Just for Pat, I get the feeling he doesn't know that much. He does other films, animations, like
Like what? I don't know.
Are you going to finish that sentence? You're the one that's...
No,
you set it up for yourself.
Damn, did I set myself up to fail. What else does this guy do?
He's done Main Street, Machine Gun Preacher, Broken City, and yeah, just for television, it's like Castlevania, The Guardians of Justice. I'm not sure what that is.
Well, they guard justice.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed is coming up.
It does what it says on the tin.
I've heard of none of those games.
Yeah, Devil May Cry is coming up. There's a lot of stuff that are in development when it comes to television stuff. But yeah, it's mostly known for Castlevania. Like his studio is mostly known for that.
Okay, good for him.
Sweet. And
interesting note for Devil May Cry 1, Ruben Langdon isn't voicing Dante. He's been voicing Dante since Devil May Cry 3, and there's a possibility Capcom's no longer working with him because he also got replaced as Ken. So conspiracy theories around that are happening, which is funny because Ruben Langdon is big on conspiracy theories.
Okay. What else? What other animated series are coming out, Seth?
Oh, well, since you asked me, Adi Shankar's other show, Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix, is coming out. This is just like the big Ubisoft, all our things are merging together for one random ass show. It looks pretty good. My most surprising thing about it, they've got Rayman in it. Someone remembered that Rayman exists. They also made Rayman a news anchor.
I don't know. Ubisoft must have had the biggest bong hit before they decided to make this. The trailer is all over. I highly recommend everybody to look up the Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix trailer. It is all over the fucking place.
To give people an idea of what this show is, it looks like it's Ubisoft Suicide Squad.
Featuring Rayman.
Yeah.
Because one of the things they show is like there's a bunch of prisoners all put together to work on a team. And this lady comes in and she's like, yeah, no, you're all working for me. There's a bomb in all your heads and blows up one of them. So it's just Suicide Squad.
Well, I didn't even make that link. But yeah, having the Raymond as he's like a news anchor or something, isn't he? That's fucking strange.
That is literally what I said.
Just what Seth said, yes.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening. I was watching the trailer.
But yeah, no, I think it looks decent. I think this could be a fun show.
It certainly looks.
Which is a weird thing to say about something from Ubisoft. It's weird to say Ubisoft thing looks fun.
Surprised there's no assassins in it. Well, not yet. Maybe season 2.
There's an assassin frog.
Yeah, Altair Frog.
Oh, is that what it's supposed to be? Oh, I thought it was just some weird dumb frog. Hey. I'm not very good. I'm watching this trailer at the same time as you're talking. I'm just not absorbing it the same way you are. Can we move on, please? I'm looking like an idiot. I'm just not making the links.
Finally, Netflix got caught with their hand in the cookie jar trying to film pedestrians, to make them unintentional scams for B-roll for one of their series, The Perfect Couple, which I don't think I've ever even heard of. Good job, Netflix. You did it. We did it, Patrick. We saved the city.
This sounds like something Netflix would do, so I'm more surprised they were caught doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not really anything else to touch on that. Just Netflix bad.
It's just funny that like right before the strike ended, they were caught doing this.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get them next time.
We'll get those free extras.
The extras is just our entire catalog of Boss Travel Lounge content, just in B-roll audio, and it's just people walking back and forth. It's a whole thing. You had to be there. Cool. Well, next up, we have some insider trading news, which is always a banger.
Ooh, I love insider trading. It's so good every time.
The fuck was that sound you just made? Jesus Christ.
I was clapping.
Oh,
do you love it?
It sounded like you're beating your chest.
Do you love it as much as a former Goldman Sachs and Blackstone Group employee? Because he
depends. Do they love it as much as Yuji Naka did?
I don't know.
Yuji Naka got caught. These guys got caught. Explain the story, Steph.
Why does he keep passing it over to me? You're the one that talks about these, Patrick. You
the
were
one
right in the middle of
I feel like
talking
he just
about
wants
it.
to hear your voice for a change. I don't know. Maybe it's like a mother duck thing. Like he's imprinted on you.
Huh?
Well, I'm going to hand this back to Patrick because he was right about to start up before Stephen handed it over to me.
I'm going home. I'm having a stroke.
I mean, I didn't even really. I was just about done in terms of filling in context. Anyway, basically, an employee told a bunch of close friends about it, just a large series of deals, and they. Where is the kicker? Where is the kicker line here? There was a kicker line somewhere in here.
It's at the bottom paragraph.
Thank you. Yeah. In the criminal indictment, prosecutors alleged that the employees had attempted to avoid detection by using encrypted messaging applications such as Signal and the Xbox 360 communication platform.
That's the funniest thing to me. Like, this is the entire reason this is on the docket. These motherfuckers were trying to do insider trading and were communicating over Xbox Live.
And they also tried using the disappearing messages feature on Instagram.
Well, yeah, the question is, like, were they actually sending themselves, like, Xbox messages, but, like, they had, like, that dumb keyboard, that plug-in adapter for the Xbox 360? Or, yeah, absolutely fucking ridiculously. Or were they just playing Halo 3 and just talking about insider trading there?
And then a squeaker joins the team, and so, like, the indictment is, like, half of them discussing insider trading, and the other half is them just screaming gamer words at 8-year-olds.
Yeah, they're never escaping the allegations. They're going to jail for a long time. So this is literally like the group chat got leaked.
It is, but the group chat
essentially,
chat getting leaked involved $2.2 billion investments.
Oh, well,
love that for
I'm sorry, a series of large deals, including a $2.2 billion investment. It could have been higher.
Every time one of these news stories about insider trading comes up, it's always the funniest shit.
And
God, I can't wait till the all the CEOs from Unity get caught for their very blatant insider trading moment.
How would they know? They did it the day before.
Their illegal trading, which yielded total illegal profits of over approximately $300,000 dues. Yeah, the Unity insider trading thing will be interesting because I heard they were using encrypted messaging, such as telling everyone on the internet that they're going to increase installer fees to 20 cents per install.
Just 20 cents.
Just 20, what, do you not have 20 cents?
It's only per install. How How many
Bro,
people
no one
install
played
a
your
game?
game.
Like,
You're
four?
fine.
Imagine that you actually win it, you get ahead because no one. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're not talking about you. We're not shitting on Unity again.
Next story.
We. I'm gonna give you the Seth take, and I'm gonna give you the actual headline. Seth take is: do you like? Wait, sorry, Steve. You're someone who often spends way too much money on expensive collector's editions for games. Do you like expensive gaming statues?
I love nothing but to spend my money on expensive gaming statues. I need my collectible paraphernalia. I need physical media in my house. I need a 19-inch Venom to watch over me while I sleep.
This is the most anti-Steven statement I've ever heard.
I'm bleeding out of my eyes.
The total insincerity with which you delivered that was actually so fantastic.
The bleeding out of the eyes isn't actually because of talking about it, it's because he took those 19 inches of Venom.
Well, no, just me actually thinking about it, like even pretending I've done it is just so abhorrent to me.
Well, the point is, Sony doesn't like the 19-inch Venom watching you while you sleep. Actually, no, that makes them sound like the good guy. Yeah, Sony doesn't like gaming statues in general. Statue maker Gaming Heads.
Dangerously based.
Gaming Heads has been told to destroy all PlayStation merchandise where they say this is a Sony PlayStation's decision, not ours. Seth, I think you actually have the most statues, or the person most affected by this. How are you holding up, big fella? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I haven't gotten any gaming statues in a while. Well, besides the Final Fantasy 16 one. But before that, it's been a while.
I heard that one was 16 feet tall as well. Like 1 foot for each Final Fantasy.
If only.
1 foot for each Final Fantasy.
Yeah, to make a hole in your ceiling.
I could take 16 feet of Ifrit.
Come to me, Ifrit!
This story might be a little more messy than Gaming Heads is trying to make it sound, because they put out this statement saying, yeah, Sony's the one that wants us to destroy all of our products that you've paid for. So if you want a refund, go talk to Sony, blah, blah, blah. Like,
gotta blame someone else, right?
Yeah, it's essentially blame someone else so they don't have to deal with the customer service side of it, because a lot of people are replying to it like, actually, I made my transaction for you. I want you to refund it. Also, a lot of these things are from orders like multiple years ago you guys have still failed to fulfill. Like, they have a 2016 Tomb Raider statue that they've yet to ship out to anyone that's bought it, sort of thing.
Oh, you mean Tomb Raider, like the Netflix show?
Yeah, that one specifically.
Bro,
it's exactly that one.
It's low poly enough you could just ship like Lego.
But yeah, so it's hard for me to like, because I want to shit on Sony for this. I do. Like, I don't want to seem like the Sony fanboy that I always am. But
there we go.
Yeah, but it seems like it seems like a gray area that like maybe these Gaming Head guys aren't doing the best job that they can, and Sony's cutting ties with them now. But there's still a whole side of people have paid for a lot of these products. They should be getting sent out. They shouldn't be getting straight up destroyed.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, destroying it is like very unhinged.
Yeah,
but it'd be like that though.
But the thing is, either they
and again, we've only got Gaming Head statement on this at the moment. Maybe Sony will come out and do their side of the story later on. But yeah, this is a weird situation.
How much funnier would it be if destroying the statues was insider trading?
They knew what they were doing.
Hold on, it might be based now.
Imagine somewhere on like what was the like Miiverse thing in PlayStation Home?
PlayStation Home, yeah.
Imagine insider trading discussions on PlayStation Home. It's
only I got into that when I was on PlayStation Home for like 30 days.
It's like a secret conversation because you went to that person's house in PlayStation Home, and then you get like house privilege.
You were playing bowling and someone just mentioned they were going to tank the stocks of a certain company.
And then they say that, and then they just go for a bowl, and it's a perfect strike. And you're like, holy shit, they know what they're talking about. Anyway, we shall move on. Seth, you're live in a field. Well, I guess we hope you would be alive and live actually. In the field with a rollback netcode update for us. What's the latest?
It's not looking good, fellas. Samurai Showdown, the very popular game that is probably one of the biggest examples of a fighting game that should have rollback netcode because of like how easy it is to kill your opponent in this game. They've been planning rollback netcode in this game for about a year now, I think. They've done a beta test, and they say they're going to be doing a second beta test in October because of how badly that first one went, and they don't expect to ship rollback into the game until next year. Just kind of pushing further that implementing rollback into a game that's already released is kind of hard to do.
Is it isn't it just an update?
No, it is actually you got to rework the entire code of the game to get it working.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's hard for them to do, not just hard. Okay, no, that's all right.
Yeah, it's expensive and hard to do. It was like a miracle that Mortal Kombat 10 did it and started the entire wave of people implementing it into older games, because rollback is something that you decide on like day one during game design documents and just build the game around what your netcode's gonna be.
Cool. So we're gonna be playing Samurai Showdown
Eventually, when they add rollback.
Yeah.
So you're gonna roll on back to the game once they update it?
Yeah, I will actually. It's one of those games I need to buy, but I heard the online was so bad I didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Cool. Well, speaking of not wanting to touch things with a 10-foot pole, we have some Mortal Kombat 1 news.
A 1 foot pole.
Actually, it's in the realm of Mortal Kombat. Why don't you hit us with this one as well, Seth?
Yeah, sure. This one's just kind of funny. There's a bug in Mortal Kombat. There's a bug in Mortal Kombat 1 where player 2 is just at an inherent disadvantage playing the game. So certain combos work for player 1, and they will drop for player 2 because of how gravity is affecting different players. It's not even a side difference. Like, it doesn't matter if you're doing the combo from left or right side of the screen. It's specifically if you are player 1 or player 2, the combo will go through or drop depending on which one you are. NetherRealm and Warner Brothers knows about this bug, and they're working on patching it. It's just really funny that this has somehow made it into a game where people play it professionally for money.
So my question is, how has it taken them this long to discover a bug in Mortal Kombat 1? That game's been out for 20 years, at least.
I think it's 30 years.
Don't double down on my joke, Seth. Let me have this. Just roll with the punchline.
No.
You know what?
Get your time frames correct.
Roll back the joke. There we go.
All right, you got your second attempt. We're rolling it back.
Okay. So my question is, how do they only discover this bug now? Because this game's been out for like 20 years.
30 years.
Fuck.
I gave you the option select, and you still went with the bad one.
Yeah, I thought it was like he won't see the second one coming type thing. You know, I gotta hit him with the mix up.
This is like when you went for 2 overheads in a row, and I still blocked them both.
Now I am the one who was mixed up. Right. Anyway, very, very funny that a bug like this exists. I'm sure they'll patch it out.
It's funny because bugs like this happen a few times. I'm not going to say exactly what the bug was, but it's a very known thing that Street Fighter V had a character select bug where player 2 had more effects turned on than player 1 side did.
What?
Jiggle physics were more intense on player 2 side on the character select screen.
Wow.
What an absolutely unhinged. Anyway, look, doesn't matter. It'd be like that.
I was trying to keep it PG.
Well, you failed. Maybe next time.
Maybe in 20 years.
We'll get him, don't worry.
I set that up for Patrick to say 30, and he missed it. I went for the low, and he ate it.
Uppercut, Hadouken.
Shuriken.
All Mortal Kombat fighting combos, as we all know. Speaking of Mortal Kombat fighting combos, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 are coming to Steam.
Finally. It's been, 3 years? 2 years.
Who asked for this?
3 years, actually. No, yeah, it came out on the Epic Game Store in 2020.
Oh, the Epic Game Store. Right.
And yeah, it's been on PC and locks there ever since.
I'm confused by this because these are the remakes, right?
Yeah, these are remakes.
Yeah, so it didn't really come out in 2020. Like saying Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 came out in 2020 just throws me for a loop when I see that written down, because it's like no, I swear it's not been like, it's like this is like the 20-year, 30-year thing.
I did say it came out in 2020 on the Epic Game Store.
That's true. Anyway, yeah, finally making its way to Steam. I don't really have any other things to say on this one.
Boy, it sure is nice that Activision is going to profit off this game where the reward to developers was to get put into the Blizzard mines. You know, I'm just saying that there's no other reason. There's no big reason behind me saying that. Just reminder that this game was wildly successful and the developers were thrown into the Blizzard mines as a reward.
Yeah, but isn't that the case with all the successful? Anyway, we're gonna move on.
It is actually. Crash 4 was also wildly successful, and they got thrown into the Call of Duty mines.
Next up, Counter-Strike 2.
We'll get them next time.
Counter-Strike 2 is now available as a free upgrade to Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
I didn't know that this was going to be an upgrade for Global Offensive until today.
Yeah, see, I'm pretty sure the big selling point to Counter-Strike 2 is this really cool PvE mode where there'll be like trees and like story. It's going to be a whole thing. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and this time it's not a separate purchase.
It's an Overwatch reference, I get it.
Yeah, it's not a separate purchase. It's just an upgrade. So you don't have to spend $60 on a worse product, and then they don't deliver on their promises, removing the entire reason that this game exists in the first place.
And then they get forced to work in the Blizzard mines.
But Patrick, they are the Blizzard mines.
Yeah, but the shittier, blizzardier mines.
You have the Blizzard mines, World of Warcraft, and then you have the Blizzard mines, Overwatch, and then you have the Blizzard mines, Diablo.
People still talking about Diablo 4. It feels like that dropped off. Well, anyway, yeah, sorry, go back to Counter-Strike. We playing this?
I plan on playing that this very soon. Possibly tonight, if the download finishes in time.
How big is the download?
Like 40 gigs. But I've had it on pause because turning it on would delay my Discord call.
Yes, it would. Hate Discord.
So I will see how it looks after I finish dinner tonight.
Ooh, dinner. What's on the menu?
I am I'm definitely not in the target demographic to play. I've played a couple games of Counter-Strike, and it's fun, but it's not my sort of game typically. So if I get randomly dragged into another couple games with some friends, then sure, but it's not the sort of thing that's interesting enough for me to go and try myself. But what about you, Steve?
Absolutely not. I hate these type of games. I'm not a big fan of them. At the same time, I've only played like 2 games my entire life, but not for me, thanks.
Yeah, for me, I've played a little bit of Counter-Strike Go, like only a few hours. But yeah, no, since this is just a free upgrade, I'm willing to give it a try. And I have friends that play these games, not fairly often, but they do play the games a decent amount. So I can just kind of ask, and they'll pop in, no problem.
Which group do we think the terrorists are going to be this time?
Terrorists are the friends that we didn't make along the way.
So there's the Blizzard mines, and then there's the Blizzard mines.
Something I do want to note, though, is that apparently they're using, like, because this is being upgraded to Source 2, I think it's the name of the engine. Like the whole reason this is happening is because they're upgrading the engine for the game. They're using new tools with the engine to make the game more dynamic, like making the smoke grenades actually work like smoke grenades properly. I don't know what that means just yet, but it's one of the highlights. Like, we've changed the smoke grenades to do more smoke grenade-y things.
It's the idea of like Gabe Newell going like, and now the smoke grenades function like smoke grenades, and everyone who only knows smoke grenades from Global Offensive just going, what does he mean?
Yeah.
Yay.
Like, maybe it just means like the volumetric fog on them looks better, or maybe like they affect the gameplay in some way.
No, it's been upgraded to use a vape cartridge of your choice, so now you can get funky strawberry smoke grenades.
A vape
cartridge.
Cool.
I can look like a dickhead in game while I look like a dickhead out of game.
Who do you think the terrorists are, Seth?
The friends we didn't make along the way. The Blizzard miners.
Don't say Blizzard miners. That's two very different demographics.
I'm saying it with an ER. The emergency room where all Blizzard employees live.
So there's the Blizzard mines.
Absolutely grim.
All right, next up. I imagine we've all been in a situation where we ask someone that we're interested in if they would like to be acquired by us, and they reply politely that they think would be better if we stayed as friends. It seems that this is now happening between Microsoft and Capcom.
No, it's not happening between Microsoft and Capcom. What's actually happening here is that Capcom's gone, I could be asked to go out with this person, and if they asked me, I would politely decline.
Grim.
How is that different? I don't...
The way you phrased it made it seem like it's an actual mutual thing that's happening where it's actually happening. Like, Microsoft did approach Capcom and asked. No, Capcom's just out of pocket said, if Microsoft was to approach us...
I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. Which I think is funny, especially because the quote is specifically that would gracefully decline.
Yeah, gracefully decline and want to remain equal business partners.
Cowards. Absolutely cowards.
Cowards. FTC is just like, hey, can we not have Microsoft just buying every company at the moment?
They saw how Exoprimal performed on Game Pass and were like, no.
And they were like, you know what? That's the win that Xbox needs in this the time of crisis.
That's the win the Xbox needs. Fucking grim. Jesus.
I don't have anything more to add to this. Seth, you
No,
good?
I'm good. It was just funny that Capcom just out of nowhere said, yeah, no, if Microsoft approached us because they're approaching everyone, we'd say no.
Yeah.
Steve?
You get it. Yeah, you get in on it. Yeah. Leave it at that. Nothing more to contribute to this.
Fair enough. And much like you going to the friends of the person you want to ask out and go and trying to figure out if they like you or not, FTC is running around trying to figure out whether or not they should force a breakup between Microsoft and Activision Blizzard, which I think is just a toxic relationship, really. I mean, they are just horrible together.
It's that myth of consent meme. Like, Activision says they consent, Microsoft says they consent, and then the FTC is in the corner going, I don't.
Holy shit, what a way to phrase that sentence, Seth. The myth of consent.
That's what the meme is titled.
Oh, is that?
It's like unrelated third party says no, so it's not consent.
Just opening with that is so out of pocket, though. Jesus Christ. Oh man. Gotta leave enough space for Jesus. The other myth of consent. Yeah. So I remember us talking about how they had until October to start like finalizing the deal, but it's crazy that it is now October. Like it didn't occur to me that them finalizing the deal, because there's all the stipulations on if they close at a particular time, everyone laughs their way to the bank, and that time is like happening now.
Yeah, and it was like in September if they didn't close, and there was like a big chunk of money got added to the CEOs of Activision, and so we're past that now, and we're closing in on like the bigger chunk of money.
Hmm.
The bigger chunk of money. Yeah, this is interesting.
But yeah, they can close it legally. They're allowed to close a deal. The last time the FTC and Microsoft and Activision went to court was just to go, yeah, no, you can't close until the main case is resolved. The FTC lost that one, so Microsoft and Activision are allowed to merge into a single company. It's just that now that this is the proper case, if the FTC wins, then they'd have to break up.
That's weird. I don't know. That's weird. I don't know. Maybe my way of business sense isn't that good, but it just seems like it's very backwards focused. But yeah.
You'd think they'd wait until after the real case is done.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that makes sense. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say.
Sometimes the best thing you can say is nothing at all, which is not the case of Sony Interactive Entertainment President and CEO Jim Ryan, who said a bunch of things as part of his retirement speech, announcing that he's retiring March 2024.
Yeah, and I think he's effectively out of office right now. So he's riding out the rest of his contract essentially at home.
That's all right. You got to use that leave.
Based.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
so there's two sides of this story as the Sony fanboy. There's the one side that's like, oh yeah, he's been working at Sony for 30 years. And he's talked about what his schedule was like, where 1 week he'd be in the studios in California, then he'd go back home for a week, and then he'd go to Japan for 2 weeks, and he'd be doing that every month. And yeah, that sounds like hell. Especially at his age, I would not want that on anyone.
You know what else is fucking hell? Earning like $1 bajillion. Wow, I can't spend time with my dumb family. You know what? Give me money. I'll do it for you.
I mean, yeah. I'm trying to say at his age is hell.
Steve will hang out with his family.
At my age, give me that money. I will do it gladly. I don't have a home. I will gladly spend time renting out places all over the world.
It's probably like...
Seth, you don't have to lowball yourself. You don't even have a family.
Oh. Ooh, that's
He's not wrong.
Don't forget he doesn't have to rent anything out. It's a business expense. He doesn't pay for rent of like fancy hotels. He's like, yeah, no, penthouse suite, yeah. Charges to the business, play on the call.
But yeah, no, like at his age, I understand it's like it's taxing and getting out now. And he has been with the company for 30 years. It's understandable to want to retire.
He's already missed his family grow up. Like, his kids are probably like, don't even know who he is.
On the other side of this, where I'm going to be as accusatory as Steven is, holy shit, ever since he's been in charge of PlayStation, he's been making all of the worst choices. All of the good decisions happened before he came in. I think the only things he's been in charge of, like, that are his decisions that have passed through are The Last of Us 1 getting remade, maybe Horizon 1 getting remade down the line, unless that gets cancelled. The PlayStation Plus price rise, and 12 live service games being put into development that all need to launch before 2026. And
you're welcome.
Getting that 10-year deal on Call of Duty.
Exactly, yeah, the 10-year Call of Duty deal. Glad that you brought that one up, Seth.
Yeah, so he's done nothing but shit decisions the entire time, and I wouldn't be surprised if also losing the Japan market. Japan has not been picking up the PS5 as quickly as they should be. Yeah,
picking up Xboxes instead.
No, it's still selling 4-1 compared to Xbox.
Yeah, I know, it's still like fucking dog shit. Japanese don't like the dumb fucking consoles. They like their Switches.
But yeah,
just need to switch it up.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, no, we need to get rid of him, which is why he's like, yeah, no, I'm leaving now. I didn't I saw the name before when I originally read this. I need to look through it again.
You mean who's taking over?
I think it's Hiroki Tokoshi or something like that.
No, Toki.
Totoki, yeah. He's taking over immediately. He's not fully taking over. He's acting as an interim chairman until someone takes it from him. Like, until they find someone suitable to take over the business.
I know this is entirely PR speak, but I just have to call out that it is so funny to me that it doesn't matter when someone chooses to step down, almost without fail, they all say the same phrase of, where's the quote here? I had it highlighted before. Where are we? Now I'm just trying to fill the dead air. Come on. Here we go. Yeah. I'm immensely proud of what we have achieved and I'm very optimistic for the future of Sony Interactive Entertainment. I don't know anyone who's stepped down who hasn't said, I'm so proud of what we've done and the future is so bright for a company that I'm stepping down from. I want to find someone who has the balls to say, I'm stepping down, it's shit.
Just find whenever someone steps down from Unity soon.
What do you mean? Even Jono Risotto is going to end up saying something about like bright future of Unity ahead of him.
I mean, it's going to be true when he steps down. They have nowhere to go but up.
They're going to write the retirement speech about him rather than him writing it. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. The ones that have most directly affected me have been the PlayStation Plus price increase, which I, as of sometime last week, have cancelled. I just, I'd rather not pay a third to a quarter of the price of my PS5 in yearly subscription fees.
Yeah, understandable.
So, yeah, controversial standpoint, I know. So, thank you for your service there, Jim Ryan. Feel free to give me time to spend more time with my family by not making it so fucking expensive to do so.
He's got two first names. You should never trust him.
Maybe when good old Jimmy leaves, we can actually get started on proper backwards compatibility on PlayStation.
What do you mean proper? There was that guy that said he was working on that already.
No. He wasn't working on backwards compatibility. He was working on game preservation.
I don't know the difference.
Good.
Actually,
point.
no, I do.
No, he's right. You know what? Price is Right rules. He's right. Okay.
Oh.
I don't really have anything else to say on that one.
Xbox Phil Spencer wins once again.
Fuck Jim.
Sweet. And funnily enough, that's exactly what the ransomware group that's trying to sell Sony data said. That was their only communication. No, I'm kidding.
Now this is the real reason he got fired.
They found his nudes and his feet pics.
What do you mean you had a notepad labeled passwords on your desktop?
We all do that. How do you know your passwords then?
No, it's supposed to say passwords 1, so they go looking for the original password document.
Mine says passwords backwards, so they can't search for it. This is the
mine says not passwords. That way, when they search for passwords, that one doesn't show up.
You know what? It needs to be in a folder labeled shopping list.
That's why I put mine in a folder called feet pics. Everyone leaves it alone.
Please stop talking.
I'm kidding. The folder's called illegal feet pics.
Hold on, I don't like those implications.
Anyway. Don't think too hard about it, okay? Anyway, so basically, do we know which group? Just a ransomware group. They say that they have successfully compromised all of Sony's systems, but that they won't ransom them. They're just trying to ransom the data that they have expelled, which apparently the Cybersecurity Connect called their proof of hack data uploaded as not particularly compelling information, which is just really
it's
funny.
not like people's accounts and passwords. It's just like internal documents and stuff.
Boring HR emails.
Mm-hmm.
Process of how to apply for leave.
Yeah, pretty much.
Leave policy _2.
I couldn't find
it's all
I couldn't find the
Jim Ryan's PlayStation Home things of talking about insider trading.
I couldn't find the update article before we started recording, but Sony's come out since this announcement and is saying they're investigating the ransomware stuff. Like, they're not giving in to what their demands are. They're investigating what it is. and so on. And probably trying to track down who did it and getting legal action taken against them.
I can't believe Yuji Naka did it again.
He invested
we'll
in
get next time.
ransoms.vc.
Tell everyone about it.
Before we move on to the next one, I just want to go
one.
back to one that we kind of skipped over.
To shit,
Yeah.
did we?
To go along with people leaving of their own volition from their studios. Hideki
Oh shit! Sorry.
Hideki Kamiya
didn't
is
know that
leaving
one.
Platinum Games, which, from what I've seen online, has basically buried Platinum Games for everyone that's ever been excited for their games.
Was anybody excited for their games?
Yeah, lots of people were.
Name one.
Since Bayonetta 3, which I was about to talk about.
No, name one person that is excited for their game.
Oh, me.
Rats. I thought you'd like I get stuck.
Because Hideki Kamiya was
Steve, you had a moment to do the funniest thing ever right there.
Once again, my funny joke is thwarted. Why do I
Hideki
even
Kamiya
bother?
was in charge of Project GG, which was going to be a Ultraman inspired
game.
video game. It's safe to assume that game's just cancelled. He's one of the founding members of the studio, and I think he was like not CEO, but just under that. He oversaw a lot of games. Like, he was a creative director on so many games and had his input on so many things. He's just one of the key pillars to that company, and him and Shinji Mikami were both like co-founders of the studio that have both left now, which just leaves Atsushi Inaba, who is who is the current CEO, and Inaba is all in on live service games. He just wants more Babylon's Falls because he sees that as the future of the industry, and it's just like,
Babylon's Fall did so well.
my brother in Christ, look around you, look at what's happening in the industry right now.
The future is now, Seth. Embrace it or go to the Blizzard mines.
Oh, that's
other
where
Blizzard
Platinum will end
miners.
up. There's a lot of speculation on why he left. Like, some people think, oh, well, maybe going all in on live service games he didn't agree with, and that's why he's leaving, because in his message he's like, he considered his base. He left after putting into consideration what his beliefs and way of making decisions were, which to me like kind of says he left because he didn't agree with what Platinum Games is going to be going through in the near future. So maybe it's the live service stuff. Some people think they'll be absorbed into another company and he wants to keep his independence. And some people think maybe just NetEase offered him his own studio. Or maybe he's going back to Capcom. Lots of speculation on why he left and where he's going to go next. But yeah, from like, so to go a little bit into why this is tanking Platinum for so many people, the last universally agreed on Platinum game that was well received was Nier Automata, and I'd argue a lot of the reasons that game was widely critically received wasn't because of Platinum's involvement, but because of Yoko Taro and his team with the Nier writing and the Nier music and everything around, like just what makes Nier Nier. So we have to go back even further back, which is like, it's Metal Gear Rising in 2013, which is where the last universally agreed on good Platinum game was. Astral Chain wasn't setting the world on fire.
I think Astral Chain had a bit more of a marketing problem. Like, it sort of seemed to come out and then it was like,
no, even people that played it didn't like it.
okay.
Bayonetta 3, I enjoyed it when I played it, and ever since, the more time I've spent away from that game, the more mid I've considered it. Like, there's a lot of things in that game that I've realized out of being in the heat of the moments that, yeah, no, I didn't like what it was doing with these certain things. And yeah, Bayonetta 3 is like very divisive in people liking it or disliking it or what it did. So yeah, without him around and like what directors are still around, Platinum Games isn't looking that bright.
Hmm.
Which is kind
well.
of sad because for a few years there, during the PS3 generation and the start of the PS4 generation, they were like widely loved, and
Platinum was up there. Yeah.
Yeah, they were one of the most influential studios when it came to action games because they were the only people doing action games at the time. Maybe that had something to do with it.
Well, it's possible. I don't have anything more to contribute to that one. Thank you for bringing it up, though, again, Seth.
No problem. I'm looking forward to where Kamiya goes next because I do genuinely enjoy every game he's made. Like, you look at his track record and it's, besides Wonderful 101, it's nothing but hits. And I'm a person that enjoys Wonderful 101. It's just that game underperformed massively. It's like me and 3 people played that game.
I'm one of them as well. Fantastic game. That was so good as well. It just had like a weird art style. Yeah, the theming was all over the place.
And it was on the Wii U.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man, fucking hell.
Do you mean Balance Wonderful 101?
No, never say that again.
You're out.
Okay, well, if I can't say that again, what I will say is that Sega has cancelled Creative Assembly's Hyenas, which obviously never good when we're cancelling projects and all that stuff, but holy shit, all of the Hyena screenshots and media that I've seen since reading about this looks like the most generic of generic like shooter games I've ever seen.
From what I've heard, people played the beta and did not enjoy the game. It's from the statements, it seems like this was cancelled because even just releasing it would cost Sega too much money.
Oh, fucking grim. Just finishing what you started.
I can't believe Unity's install fee was going to tank Sega.
I guess it's like they'd have to rework the game based on like the beta feedback, and yeah, that would just cost them too much money to even consider doing it at this point. Like the return on investment didn't look good.
So what Sega describes this game as is a hero-based multiplayer extraction shooter that pits 5 teams of 3 against each other and NPC security teams. What the fuck? This is literally like Overwatch with Payday.
Yeah. We covered when they announced it, and the trailer when they first announced it looked kind of interesting, but we said it had a generic kind of look to it, but the gameplay seemed at least unique. But
it's unique in the sense that it's in 0G. Like that.
No. Unique in the sense of all the different, all those different elements that they're trying to smush into one game. Like extraction shooters are one thing because that's stuff like Tom Clancy's, or was it The Division? The Division?
No, Division was like an open world game. It's like Tarkov. So not a Tom Clancy game, but something like Tarkov.
Isn't it like Rainbow Six Extraction though? Is that what you're thinking?
That's the one.
Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah,
is that Tom Clancy?
I think they removed Tom Clancy's name from the games at that point because the man's been dead for quite a long time.
But that's one that I was thinking of. But the point is, there's the hero-based element, which is like Overwatch, as well as the Gearbox one that we never talk about, Battleborn. And then there's the
RIP.
And then there's all the different PvE, VP elements, which is almost kind of Hunt Showdown-esque. So they had an interesting formula going, but it was just wrapped in like to my eye, fairly generic looking art direction. So it would have been entirely riding on gameplay. Also kind of like a look at how quirky we are sort of thing. Like there's so much like, look how much Sega is plastered all over this. And then also, hey, look, the Statue of Liberty is in the middle of a stage. Damn, that's crazy.
How quirky.
Yeah, essentially that. Yeah, like you look at it and you go, damn, that's crazy. With like the most monotone voice ever.
Yeah.
It was Earth all along.
Yeah, so ideas steal pop culture memorabilia from plunder ships. Where are we? That's right, yeah. And it was not going to be free to play. So their announcement, we've dedicated the past year to reviewing our business model alongside months of extremely valuable player testing of the game experience. Very excited with this progress and the reaction to yesterday's gameplay reveal. We'll build on foundation with our closed beta test beginning 31st of August with the insight to finalize our plans for launch. So that was where it was. And then in the past couple months, realizing that, so Creative Assembly.
So it's not in this article, but Sega put out a statement. No,
Sega Europe announces the beginning of a redundancy consultation process alongside ending development of Hyena's decision affects areas of its UK operations, which may result in job losses.
Okay, yeah. I missed whereabouts that was in the article. Yeah. I must have skimmed over it. But yeah. So Sega's doing big restructuring, and part of that, you don't mind if I just go into the next one?
We're doing it live.
Okay, yeah. So sad news on that as well. Like, part of restructuring in Hyena's getting cancelled is Creative Assembly put out a statement saying that they're just going to be cutting jobs. They don't know how many. Yeah, they don't know how many jobs they're going to be cutting, but they are going to be cutting jobs and trying to help anyone that does get their job cut, they're going to try and help them find new places. And then the amount of people it's not Creative Assembly specifically. Well, I'll wait till the next one before I talk about that. But yeah, very, very bad moment for this to happen. Like, I get it. They took a hit financially. Should come out of the CEO's pocket instead of the employees getting cut.
But Seth, I mean, the CEO has a family of mega yachts to feed.
I'm sure one of those mega yachts can go hungry for a night.
You don't understand.
Literally a night.
My mega yacht. She's sick. she need medicine in the form of grinding small children.
They must chew on the bones.
We need the what's the gland? There was all that conspiracy around Hollywood taking. I want to say the adrenal glands, but that wasn't it.
It was pituitary.
Oh shit! What was it?
All the elites were taking some sort of weird gland that I don't really think. I'm pretty sure it was
adrenal
or pituitary.
Anyway, that gland, the CEO's
keeps him young.
The CEO's mega yacht requires that gland specifically. Lots of that gland.
But you can only get it out. You can only get it out of 4-year-old boys.
It's just like Monster Hunter now, where you don't have that many chances of getting it out of 4-year-old boys. Sometimes you need to get it out of 5-year-old boys. It's like a percentage chance thing.
Move on.
No.
But yeah.
Hold on.
Following up on it.
Let him cancel.
Let him carve.
Seeing people lose their jobs. Tim Sweeney, who usually goes on Twitter and calls people out on that, was like, hey, hang on. Maybe there's actually merit to this, and cut 870 employees from Epic, which is about 16% of their workforce.
That's a lot of fucking people.
So it's not just that, it's like a few other things as well, because they're also... Remember how we mocked them for picking up whatever Bandcamp or whatever it was, like a year ago?
Yep. We didn't know why they picked up Bandcamp.
Turns out neither did Epic.
I love buying companies just to realize that I've wasted my money. It's so fucking fun.
Patrick, I'll keep this in the podcast, but I need you to know. I was listening to another podcast earlier today. They did that Bandcamp joke word for word that you just did.
Grim. This guy's a phony.
Word for word, even.
Word for word,
even. So good.
Just literally, yeah. You know how everyone was asking, what's Epic doing buying Bandcamp? We don't know what they're doing with that. Well, turns out neither does Epic.
Was the other podcast popular at least?
Yeah, they are.
Excellent. I've got such a bright future.
Not as popular as us, but
I can't believe I had to strike as part of the writer's strike, because clearly I'm just a talented comedian at heart who totally wrote that joke before I said it. Okay, so
it's just like the host guideline. This is the joke you make in this situation.
Read the room. So I was listening to someone discussing a few of these changes. I'll leave it to you to figure out whether we're cutting stuff in or out. But I was listening to a video talking about some of these changes. So what they did do when they picked up Bandcamp was they changed the revenue split model to be more favorable to creators. So Epic did do something good with that. We should state that. So they are divesting Bandcamp to anywhere else, and then they're also spinning out one of their other subsidiaries into its own company. I forget which one. Super Awesome. That's what it was. Yeah. So divesting Bandcamp and then spinning out most of Super Awesome into its own company. All of the stipulations around the people who are being laid off, it sounds like the best of a restructuring situation. Like they are not. I think Epic, operating out of I assume predominantly America as the studios for Epic.
I believe so.
Could have absolutely just screwed over, needing to restructure and get rid of a bunch of their workforce. The deal that I heard that the employees are getting is really, really generous for the situation. So it seems like they really are kind of gun to their head, not wanting to do this, but kind of being forced into it. So
I don't know, because the dev team behind Fall Guys, Mediatonic, they were basically completely gutted to the point where they took the letters of their company that are in the studio and rearranged them to say decimated. Oof. Or decimation. And yeah, it doesn't seem great. And after this, so many people across the games industry from Epic just started going on Twitter going, yeah, so I just got hit by the 900-person layoff. Could people help me get back on my feet and find another job as soon as possible? Because things are looking grim for us at the moment.
Ugh. I don't hear about that.
And it's really funny is definitely not the right word, but it is interesting. No, genuinely, it is interesting because every year we talk about what we hear that year on year, gaming is the biggest media industry just in the world. It surpasses music, movie, and sports combined in terms of an entertainment industry. And it's only getting bigger. And so it's interesting. And I think in some ways it is kind of funny that at the center of a lot of that growth is being able to use common tool sets like Unity, like Epic, that for whatever reason just can't quite. I don't know if it's it can't quite survive, but they're just you'd think for how much the industry has grown that they wouldn't need to be in a position where they're cutting 16% of their workforce or trying to force everyone into a 20-cent installer on every download.
Yeah, so essentially what seems to be happening, if Sweeney's words are to be believed, is that he's blaming the cuts on unrealistic growth expectations at Epic. So it's the things like buying out Bandcamp and that other company where they just overspent and overreached where they considered they would be by this year, that it started hitting it. They weren't seeing the return in investment properly, so now that's why they're cutting people's jobs. It's really shitty CEO way of thinking I spent too much money. I thought we'd be bigger. I absorbed too much. Now the lower rungs of the totem pole have to pay for it.
Yeah, and onto that growth thing as well. There's always this expectation of infinite growth, but when you do absorb companies, it's well, there's a lot of duplication of roles going on. Who's getting the flick? And it looks like they sort of just wall that for a bit, and it's well, we have to start making cuts now, and it's either you do 900 jobs over the space of 19 months, or you do 900 jobs at once. And it looks like he's just gone for it once, which always makes you look fucking bad because it's shit planning.
Unless you're Microsoft the past year, which is we're doing 10,000 now.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't enough. We're doing another 10,000.
Because that was Unity as well, right?
That's still not enough. Here's another 5.
Because that was Unity as well, which is hey guys, we need to cut some people. We really don't want to do it, but we're doing it. And then everyone's okay, are there any more? And Unity's maybe. And then in another couple months, they're hey, so... and then culled another wave. Whereas in the memo to Unreal employees, they one of the questions, will there be more layoffs after this? No, they're doing a one and done because that if you're going to do layoffs, you want to do one and done. Otherwise, you fuck with the morale even harder than layoffs would fuck with morale at the workplace.
Yeah. There's two more things I want to talk about with this one. Well, not really talk about, but just two more things I want to highlight. The first one is that Tim Sweeney is an absolute dickhead, because over the past 2 years, I think it was, every time these industry cuts were happening, he'd go into all of the statements about them and start going, oh, well, at my company, this would never happen. We would never cut jobs because of something like this happening to us. And look where we are now, Tim. You're cutting 900 jobs.
That's the same as CD Projekt Red, right? Oh, you guys do crunch? Oh, that's so cringe. We would never do crunch. Cyberpunk rolls around. Hey.
Yeah, that is essentially that, yeah. And the second one...
story.
And the second one is, hey, remember when the Wii U failed and Iwata cut his salary in half twice so he wouldn't have to fire his employees? Remember when CEOs were that good?
Well, no,
it's literally just Iwata, though. It's literally only Iwata that's ever done that.
Yeah, number one, that's the exception. Number two, that's a very Japanese thing.
It shouldn't be the exception, though. It should be the rule.
Have you seen our society, big fella?
Yeah, I have. That's why I'm saying it should be the rule.
What part of 5-year-old boy's adrenal glands from my mega yacht didn't make sense to you?
Stop bringing that up. That's worse than the gamer word.
Give me the glands.
Cut us out. Edit this out. I'm going home.
Yeah, it is shitty. Hopefully everyone that is affected lands on their feet in some capacity.
Then they can work on a podcast.
Hold on, let's not get unions involved.
We need a 900-person podcast.
Oh,
yeah, no,
shit.
just going... Actually,
all of us talking at the same time.
Rounding it back to the beginning of the podcast, this is a really good reason why the game industry should unionize and maybe strike.
Anyway, I don't have anything more to add to this. I think I've said my piece. Anything more from either of you?
No, I'm good. This sucks.
Holy shit. I didn't even realize that the final bullet point in that article, big picture. Meanwhile, the video game market is expected to generate $188 billion this year, growing 2.6%.
Yeah. It's like when Activision Blizzard announced their best year ever and then cut half their jobs at Blizzard.
Same with Microsoft. Hey guys, we need to get rid of several thousand people, but also we're buying Activision Blizzard for $80 billion.
Well, that's why. How do you think they save the money?
By cutting 3 jobs.
And it should be 3 people from the top.
Probably, yeah, they never are. Probably just some middle managers, though. That'll be fine. They'll find another middle management job. Anyway,
we're now at the end of the news for this week, and actually at the end of episode 92. No audience question for this week, but if you have an audience question for us to answer, you okay? You need some oxygen there? You're having a bit of a stroke?
Oh my stars!
Oh my stars! Yeah, we're on Facebook at Fast Travel Lounge. We're on X, formerly Twitter, at Fast Travel Lounge minus one of the L's, the one that Elon continually taunts us with. We're on Blue Sky at what is it? FastTravelLounge.social?
.bsky.social.
.bsky.social. I was close. But give it to me.
I think you can just say Fast Travel Lounge and that'll get the message through on Blue Sky.
Sweet. We're not Fast Travel Couch or Fast Travel Kitchen. We are Fast Travel Lounge.
With both L's.
As well as with both L's, as well as Fast Travel Lounge at gmail.com. Anything we want to tease for next week? I have nothing on the cards.
The Sonic Frontiers DLC just came out, so I'm going to try that out. I hear it's the Dark Souls of Sonic content.
You can't keep saying that about Sonic content.
I've never said that about Sonic content before.
I swear.
Last time I said Sonic Frontiers was the Breath of the Wild of Sonic. Which I still think is true.
Anything from you, Steve? More Starfield? More Fields of Stars?
Actually, for whatever reason that My Hero Academia Battle Royale came out recently earlier this week.
Oh, I heard it's shit.
Whoa! Spoiler alert! I haven't played it yet. I downloaded it this morning, I think. Hopefully I did. So hopefully, yeah. I really only expect to be playing a couple of games. I expect it's gonna be fucking shit.
Yeah, I've heard it's exceptionally bad.
It's free though. It's free. Battle Royales, in my opinion, are very fun for a couple games, and and after that, you're like, I'm done. Never going to think about it again.
Steven, I know you said no spoilers, but can I spoil one thing about it that I actually don't know for sure 100%, but I want to scare you anyway? Apparently, it might be a loot box game.
Oh, hang on. A free-to-play game with loot boxes. I'm shocked.
We've been moving over to free-to-play with battle passes.
I mean, I have both. I can buy a starter pack of $44. Comes with some exclusive costumes, exclusive gestures, and 400 roll tickets. And 10 roll tickets is one pull, so I spent 40 rolls.
There's
for $44, they are literally. This is highway robbery. Holy fucking shit!
Fucking grim.
And you're not even guaranteed anything except for the fucking costumes.
Patrick, please see us out.
Well,
I'm going for Angry Dad Warcast. This is ridiculous. I hate gacha games so much.
Well, if you would like to hear me talk about nothing, Seth talk about Sonic Frontiers and how it's the Dark Souls of Sonic, and Steve playing Babylon's Fall, then feel free to tune in next week. If you've enjoyed what you've listened to, feel free to give us any kind of feedback, any kind of a subscription, a like, a rating, a review. It really helps us out. Helps us spread the degeneracy. But until the aforementioned episode 93, I've been Patrick. I've been joined by Seth and Steve. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Up the pause.